Well, good afternoon, everyone, or maybe good evening or good morning, depending where you're joining us from on planet Earth. It is a big day in space flight. Starship is back on the pad, and we are now counting down just 1 hour, 26 minutes, 17 seconds, and counting till launch. And as you can see on your screen, we've got venting all over the place. The tank farm is coming online, the tower is being prepared as we have started to see its venting. And in just about 36 minutes from now, the launch team at Starbase Mission Control will give that go no go for propellant loading. And if we get that go, fuel will begin loading onto the Starship, followed closely behind by the Super Heavy booster in just under 47 minutes from now. But if it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together. We're glad to have you joining us live here today. It is, as I said, a big day in spaceflight. We are so glad to have you joining us live here today. If you have questions at any point through today's broadcast, it's super simple to get it answered. All you got to do is send it in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad. And if you see someone that sends in a question, let them know. So that helps it flag it in my system because the chat goes wild sometimes and I don't want to miss your question. So make sure you're using that tag at the Launchpad. And as a test, to make sure you know how the chat works, we always kick it off by saying, where are you watching from? We know we got people tuning in from all over the world, and we're glad to have you all here. So take a moment, let us know in the YouTube chat where you're watching from. While you do so, do the YouTube things, hit that like button, share out the stream, and invite people to join us. You are looking at 3 live views from our TLP owned cameras down at Starbase, where we are looking at a really nice close-up of that brand new V3 Starship, which is stacked up on the pad. And then as we take a look down at the new generation of the V3 Super Heavy booster, now on a brand new pad B down at Starbase with a new orbital launch mount, new quick disconnects, so many new things being tested here today. This booster might look a little weird. It only has 3 grid fins. That's okay. That's part of the design. No, nothing fell off while they rolled it out to the pad. And as you can see there is that venting on the tower, which is a great sign that we are proceeding towards that go no go for propellant loading here this afternoon with hopefully liftoff of Starship just 1 hour, 24 minutes and counting from now. We do have a 90-minute window here today, so we will of course, be keeping an eye for any updates from SpaceX. As of the last weather update, we were 55% chance of go for launch, keeping an eye on those cloud conditions up above the 9-kilometer, 10, 15-kilometer altitude, somewhere in that area. There's a risk of some clouds that we'd be keeping an eye on, but hopefully Starship will be able to have a clear ascent, and we'll go through all of the major milestones that we have happening here today. We got lots of people jumping in from all over the world. We got Byron watching in Oregon. Welcome. We got Marcin watching from Warsaw in Poland. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Asking, is there a reworked nozzle or the old design? These are V3 engines that are on board. So that's what we'll be seeing here today. We've got APS Dev from the Netherlands. Beacon is in Melbourne, Australia. Welcome. We got William in New Smyrna Beach in Florida. We got Buckaman in New Mexico. Hope I'm saying that right. Sorry. CMFD is in Western Washington. Welcome. We got Jamie in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Welcome. Marcy is in South Padre with a beautiful view. I am jealous of you, Marcy. I wasn't able to make it down for this flight. I haven't made it down since flight 6. How are we already at flight 12? It is truly incredible that we are already here today, but it has been a long time since we have seen a Starship fly. It was all the way back in October, it was 13th or 15th of last year that we saw Starship fly for the last time. And it's interesting that the last time that we saw SpaceX fly Starship, it was tying the record of how many Falcon Heavy flights there have been. And here we are again today. Falcon Heavy has launched once since the last Starship flight on April 29th. It launched Viasat 3F3 from Florida. And here we are today with Starship going for its 12th flight test, if you count full stacked flights only. Obviously, we had all those test hops earlier in the program. As I said, we're going to run through everything we know about today's mission. Many things similar from previous flights, many things different. And of course, we'll be answering your guys' questions, and you can continue to let me know where you're watching from in the chat. We'll do some more shout outs in just a moment. But the big test, obviously, is the new ship and the new booster. The booster's primary objective is very identical to the earlier test flights: launch, flip, boost back, and then conduct a soft landing in the Gulf of America off of Starbase. They will not be attempting to catch the booster or the ship on this flight. If everything goes well, maybe we get to see that for flight 13 or 14. Fingers crossed. The Starship upper stage has many objectives for this flight. Obviously, launch being the first one. In orbit, it will attempt to relight its engine. It obviously will have to fly in its flight. Excuse me, it's not going to orbit. It's going near orbit. If it pushed its engine for a couple more seconds, it'd be at orbit. It's not going into orbit, but near orbit velocity. It has to relight its engine, proving that they could deorbit if they had entered into an orbit. On board that Starship on your screen right now are 22 Starlink simulators. These are identical in size to the next generation Starlink V3 satellites that will begin being launched hopefully later this year aboard Starship. Now, one of the neat things is, for the first time ever, Starship will be deploying an operational payload. It has never done this before. 2 of the Starlinks on board Starship today have been modified to be able to have cameras and downlinks to be able to actually come off of them, to be able to inspect and see if there are any missing tiles on the Starship. That is what we are hearing. We'll have to wait and obviously see how that goes, and if we get to even see that live or not. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. And then obviously re-entry. How does Starship V3 fare? It is taller. It has changing positions in the tiles. There's now kind of 2 different size tiles. You can see tiles in different places around the ship as well. So how do the tiles fare on re-entry, and hopefully a soft splashdown as well? Lots of people just jumping on. Welcome. So great to have you all here. Catching up on some more people. We got Andre in Ottawa. Neo is in Belgium. Welcome. We got Elite in Indiana. We got Dave from Bunbury, I believe that is, in Western Australia. I believe that'd be very good. Very early morning for you. Good morning. We've got Keith watching from Minnesota. Welcome. We've got Michael watching from I'm going to say that wrong, so I'm just going to say New Brunswick, Canada. Welcome. Great to have you here. If you guys haven't, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream. It really does help us out, and it's free to do so. That's the best part. It doesn't cost you anything to do. We are keeping a close eye on those timelines, coming closer and closer to that go, no go for propellant loading. Now, SpaceX is planning to go live at the 45-minute to launch mark, and the moment that they do, we will, of course, patch them in and listen into SpaceX Mission Control. I'll continue answering your guys' comments and questions through the flight and some of those coast phases that we expect to have during today's flight as well. But it is a big day as we hope to see Ship 39, Booster 19 launch in just 1 hour, 18 minutes, 27 seconds from now. Keeping an eye out for any updates that would come in from SpaceX. We haven't seen anything in the last few hours. The last update that we had was, I guess, 4 hours ago now. And they said they were on track for liftoff at 5:30 p.m. Central, which is obviously 6:30 p.m. Eastern, with a 90-minute window stretching until 7 p.m. local time. So we're keeping a close eye on any updates there, but it is definitely looking like the weather is clearing up. You can see obviously our cameras are getting a lot crisper. That haze is breaking off. So we're very thankful that it is not an early morning flight, but is a late afternoon flight, because this morning, if you're watching the cameras, it was very hazy. And if it's your first time here and you're watching, these are our own Starbase cameras here on TLP. You can actually watch these 24/7 around the clock right here on TLP on our Starbase 24/7 stream. So definitely check that out following the launch, as we normally have them aimed that you can actually see the entire launch site, the build site, and Massey's 24/7. So definitely check that out. Lots of people just jumping on. Steven's watching from Wichita. We got Shauna in Nashville, Tennessee. Madsen in Denmark. Welcome. EDM Ed McKay, excuse me, in Mississippi. Welcome. We got Venstar in Midland, Michigan, I believe that is. I hope so. Highland is watching from Wisconsin. Welcome. We got Evil watching from Newfoundland. Welcome. It's great to have you here. We are keeping a close eye on any updates that come in from SpaceX on how things are progressing through the countdown, and we'll start to get, of course, a lot more updates when we get to that go, no go for propellant loading. But at this time, the clock is still ticking towards the flight time here today. Taking a look at total flight time, if everything goes well, an exciting landing of Starship scheduled 1 hour, 5 minutes, 26 seconds into flight for the ship. Booster splashdown is expected to occur 6 minutes, 59 seconds into flight. It's really incredible. Max Q, the moment of peak mechanical stress on this vehicle, is just 45 seconds into launch. That is incredibly fast. And it'll be incredible to see here. We, of course, will have hot staging and the boost back of the booster here today. We do not, I believe, have a full confirmation whether they will go up or under. I believe they normally go the up flip maneuver. I think they found that worked better for the boost backs. So we'll keep an eye out on that as well. But you can see on the wide shot there, some of the birds in the area. If you happen to be down there and you're taking photos, definitely tag us on social media at the Launchpad. We'd love to see what those photos you capture are. And if you're interested in becoming part of what we do and you believe in the mission that space is better together and that you want to inform and inspire that next generation of explorers, take a moment. We do have our application. It's open to join the crew as maybe a launch commentator, joining me on air. Maybe you want to be a rocket chaser. You love doing photos or videos and you live near a launch site. Maybe you want to be a moderator, or maybe you have a passion for writing or being an on-location representative as a news correspondent. Take a moment, fill that in. We're super excited about things that we're launching over the summer, and we definitely need some more people to join us on this crew. Most of the positions are volunteer positions at this time, but there are opportunities for other things as things progress. So definitely take a moment if you have some time and you have that passion. We would love to hear from you. I'm super excited. I will be going and speaking at a school next week here in Edmonton and kicking off kind of a new thing that we're looking at doing and doing some more outreach into schools, getting to really inspire that next generation. So super thankful for that school invite here in my hometown, getting to talk about Artemis and hopefully if everything goes well, talk about Starship as well, do some show and tell and bring some nice surprises for the kids to really get them hands-on with some space history. So if you are a teacher and you're interested in that, we are kind of planning to do some more of those down the road, kind of doing some little tours. So if that's something you're ever interested in, definitely reach out. We'd love to hear from you. At worst, we can always do it over Zoom, but we'd love to do them in person as well. Lots of people just jumping on. Definitely take a moment, share out the stream. We got Joseph watching from Tampa. Sam is watching from Quebec. Bonjour. We got Johnny watching from New Brunswick in Canada. Macy says, yeah, the skies have cleared up nicely. They really have. It's a really nice, crisp day now. You can really start to see that venting clearly in the bottom screen there. Some very clear vents as they get the tank farm ready for propellant loading. Hello from Ohio, Cleveland. Welcome from ACTPO. I don't know how to say that, but welcome. We got Patrick in Louisiana. Chaz is in Birmingham in the UK. And we got Brett in Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome. If you guys have questions, keep sending those in the chat. Tag me at the Launchpad. I'll work on answering those live. I'm not sure if I missed a few. Shauna in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't believe I said that one, but welcome. Glad to have you here. Evil Paintballer. Once, if the Launchpad here in St. Lawrence, and is that Newfoundland? I believe it's Newfoundland. Ever gets going, I'll definitely hit you out with some footage. Oh, awesome. Evil, if you want to reach out even just now so we can open a line of communication, that'd be awesome because we're planning on hopefully getting out there at some point. So have some ideas that it'd be helpful to have someone nearby. So definitely, if you can reach out, that would be amazing. We got Dee watching from Australia. Welcome. Great to have you here. Carrie is watching from Saskatchewan, Canada. That is not how you spell that, Carrie. I'm not going to spell it correctly, but that is not how you spell that. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Angie watching from Texas. Welcome. Let us know in the chat. Are you watching at home? Are you at work? Are you down at Starbase and you're watching us? Take a moment. We'd love to hear who you're watching with, where you're watching from. As we count down 1 hour, 12 minutes and counting till launch. The countdown clock's continuing to click ever closer now, less than 22 minutes till the beginning of propellant loading, running you through the timeline. So they're on your screen, but running through that timeline at T minus 50 minutes. That is when the SpaceX flight director will give a go no go for propellant loading. At that time, they will begin loading liquid oxygen or LOX onto the ship there on your screen at T minus 38 minutes, 53 seconds. Then 35 minutes later, excuse me, not 35 minutes later. Then at T minus 35 minutes, they will begin loading liquid oxygen onto the super heavy booster there now on your screen. That'll be followed just 17 seconds later by beginning to load liquid methane onto the super heavy booster. Then at T minus 32 minutes, 59 seconds, they will begin loading fuel onto the Starship. At T minus 21 minutes, 30 seconds into the count, that is when the Raptors on both the ship and the booster will begin being chilled. Propellant loading on Super Heavy will complete T minus 2 minutes 50 seconds, with propellant load on the ship being completed at T minus 2 minutes 10 seconds. The SpaceX flight director will give a final go for launch at T minus 30 seconds. Previously, we could hold at T minus 40 seconds, so we're expecting that to be right around that time as well. There's a boat going by. You'll see that less traffic as we get closer and closer to that time of liftoff here. The flame diverter, the new flame diverter will activate T minus 17 seconds into the count. Super heavy booster ignition command will be sent at T minus 3 seconds, and ignition with excitement guaranteed at T0. Now, the liftoff should occur quite quickly here. At T plus 45 seconds, as I said, we have max Q, and then we'll run you through the rest of the flight here in a little bit as we continue towards liftoff in just 1 hour, 9 minutes, 50 seconds from now. Question from Jennifer. I'll answer it very quickly, but I really do appreciate you sending it in. Off topic, did you have your surgery? I hope you're doing well. Yes, I did, Jennifer. I'm doing incredibly well. Yeah, just feeling really, really incredible. Down 175 since 27th of October. So feeling really amazing. Long way to go, but thanks for asking. I appreciate that. One reason I really love our community is that you guys really do care and you check in on me. It's been a bumpy couple of years, but we're excited to get through it and be better for it. And now here we are getting to do some really incredible things and watch people go back to the moon this year. Hopefully watch some more flight tests of Starship and see a bunch of new launch providers starting to come online with new vehicles as well. So really, really exciting time. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity that this is my job. This is surreal that this is my job. And that's only thanks to your guys' generous support of watching and sharing and being here. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to the entire TLP crew here that is supporting this mission as well. And for those that are applying to join it as well. Johnny's watching from the couch on planet Earth. Welcome. Question, which SpaceX launch site is this? This is Pad 2 or Pad B at SpaceX Starbase in Texas. So this is Starbase, Texas, which is officially the name now. It is no longer Boca Chica. It is Starbase. We got 1227 Silver watching from Vancouver. We got someone watching on their Xbox on their 65-inch TV. That is awesome. Welcome. We got Anmold watching from Cleveland. Penny's watching from North Carolina. Barney's in the UK. We got Alan in Dundalk, Ireland. Welcome. Hopefully I said that right. Thanks for being here, Douglas, for checking us out for coverage. I appreciate it. Nathan, no, these are our own cameras. So we have 3 cameras down at Starbase. We're working on expanding that, bringing more cameras online many places. So these are our own cameras that I'm controlling right now. We got Gazebo? Oh, that's wow. Gazebo. Hello. I definitely know English. Watching from Bristol, UK. Welcome. Capital in Arizona. Ed is in St. John's in Newfoundland. We got Mark in Seattle. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Thanks, Pamela. Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Asa Flores, thank you for being a member for 19 months at the Lunar Explorer level. I really appreciate that level of support. Are they looking to catch the booster today? Not today, because this is a brand new ship and a brand new booster and a brand new pad. They are not attempting the catch of either, but they are going to do like the simulated ones where they do the soft splashdown in the Gulf of America. Matthew, is there any odds online about Flight 12? I'm sure there are. Does someone want to check Polymarket? I mean, that's the one everyone bets on, right? I don't bet on flights. I hope this goes successful. The only place I bet is in the YouTube chat when we put a poll, and that's free to do so. So if you'd like to do so, we do have that poll right now. I need to get it up on the other stream here, so bear with me. If you don't see a poll, it will be coming up to you very shortly here. But we want to hear from you. How do you think today's flight's going to go? Are we going to hear the dreaded S word today because of weather or something else? Do you think the booster or ship, one of the two, will have an issue and Rudd? Do you think both will have an issue in Rudd, or do you think we're going to see a successful splashdown of both? So you can take a moment and let us know in the poll in the chat here. If you're not seeing it, give me 30 seconds, and you will see that in your chat here in a moment. Don't forget, keep sending in those questions in the chat by tagging me at the launch pad, and I'm answering those live. You don't have to send them in as a super chat. I try to answer every single question that comes in the chat. So I appreciate you guys sending those in. On one of the streams, coming up to 2,000 votes, 53% thinking both booster and ship will splash, followed behind 33% thinking we're not launching today. I'm glad to see that we're not even in double digits, that this isn't going to go well. So I'm glad to see that. I think we all kind of feel the same. They've learned a lot with V2, and hopefully that they will be able to have a successful flight here today. Polymarket gives it 83% of a Rudd. That is terrible. I mean, I would hope people are more hopeful, but let's be honest. Let's be real here. Let's talk based on fact. The first 3 flights of V1 and of V2 did not go well. And 1 time is an accident, 2 times is a pattern, 3 times, let's just hope we don't repeat it again. So we'll have to see how that goes. Evil joined on the Discord. Awesome. If you want to try to send me a DM on there, Evil, just so I remember, it'll pop up as a request on mine. I will try to get back to you later today, tomorrow, just so we have that line of connection open. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Nathan, no, absolutely. We're going to have SpaceX patched in here so you can watch our stream and theirs all at the same time. We've even got a 4plex built up, so you'll be able to see everything. And then, of course, in the big moments, we will patch into SpaceX for when our cameras no longer show the rocket. Of course, their cameras will be on board the rocket. So we're definitely going to show those. A question came in from Shauna a couple of seconds ago. Just curious, how far in advance of the launch day do they clear the airspace, or has it already been cleared? And how big is the perimeter, both air and sea? Sorry if that is silly. Definitely not a silly question. And I'll see if anyone in the back channels can pull me up maybe a rough number on how big the exclusion zone is. But the exclusion zones for the previous flights stretch from Texas past Florida, to give you an idea. So they are the basically entire width of the Gulf of America. I'm going to address it right now. I already see the battle happening in the chat. This is a US launch. We commentate based on what the legal documentation of a launch is. If this was a Mexico launch, we would call it differently. It's a US launch. On legal, on paper, this is launching over and splashing down in the Gulf of America. So we're just going to address that there. Call it whatever you want. It's the Gulf. But great question. So that's how wide this perimeter is. Now we're launching a slightly different trajectory, but it's just as long, but it's a bit more south to that. Airspace is not nearly as big of a restriction area. It's only kind of a couple of miles. Obviously, it's that corridor, but once they get high enough up, it's more the risk of if there was a Rudd that they'd be worried about the debris raining down. And we saw that with one of the early V2 flights where they actually had to abort flights and divert flights that were in the Caribbean and get them out of the area because they were worried that Starship was going to like rain down on them. And we saw some flights refuse to take off. Some got diverted back to Florida instead of landing in the Caribbean for a couple of hours. So that's what we will hopefully not see here today, but they do have those exclusion zones in place. They also have exclusion zones over in the Indian Ocean by Australia for the ship to come back down in as well. And that is, again, quite a distance. It stretches almost from the eastern side of Africa. It's a bit to the east of that, but from there all the way to Australia. It is a very long corridor for reentry, just in case the ship fails during reentry as well. So, really great question. Normally, I would bring those maps up on the screen. I totally forgot. I apologize. Maybe someone can drop those in the Discord. We do have our TLP Discord. It's free to join. It's where our community hangs out in between streams. We got Space Chat. We got North America Chat. If someone wants to drop the maps in there for the Starship flight, I'd appreciate that. Any of you in the community, but that's where our community hangs out. There are like comm channels, so if you want to hang out and chat while the countdown happens, those you're more than welcome to as well. I try to pop in every now again as well. I see the the battle of the name has begun. I apologize, but we're gonna call it what it's legally required. You don't tell an airplane to land in one place and it be called something else. So that's why we call it what we do. But if yeah, that's what it is. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad. I'll work on answering those live. And James Denton says third time is a charm, so V3 is a charm. That's the hope. I really do hope that that's what we see with this. I hope that they've learned a lot from everything, and we'll be keeping a close eye on that as the V3 program continues over the coming months and longer. All right, I just got an email from NASA. I was seeing if it was anything important. No, just announcing that they took part in something with the Artemis Accords. Nothing important from NASA today. But on Tuesday, mark your calendars. Tuesday, be right back here on the Launchpad. We have a big event with NASA that we will be covering. They are giving an update on the future of the moon base. So we're super excited. Hopefully, we'll get some new renders. So we hope that you will see that there. I see Matt is now saying we have had a bit of a delay here, and I do see that now confirmed by SpaceX as well. We are at T-minus 90 minutes at this time, so we will update our countdown here to have that now at the correct time. That they are now targeting 6 p.m. local, which means they are already eating 30 minutes of their launch window with this the delay here, but that is okay. As we said earlier, this is a test flight. We expect to see these things occur, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. But thanks for sending that in the chat there, Matt, and pinging me on that. We should have that updated now. So if you're just joining us, 1 hour, 28 minutes, 30 seconds and counting now to launch. You can see the venting at the tower, the venting at the tank farm by Pad A, which still feeds Pad B, is continuing. But at this time, we are now have a little bit more time than we were originally thinking we were going to, as we get closer and closer to a liftoff here, hopefully in about 90 minutes from now. I saw a couple people. Would you consider this a scrub at this scrub? No. Scrub is if we don't leave the ground at all in the window today. So I still think we are looking good. I wouldn't count it as that. But with that updated T0 time, we now have 37 minutes, 50 seconds till that go, no go for propellant loading. And so we're going to keep a close eye on that. We just have more time to answer your questions. So keep sending those in the chat as we continue through today's countdown. Timer 192, another really great question. How long does the airspace remain cleared for after the rocket has gone past it into space or past given section of it? That is a great question, and I don't know if I have an exact answer for that, but I do know they can open quite quickly. I know for launches with Falcon 9 in Florida, when they've had a landing of a Falcon 9, if you actually were watching on a boat, some people have gone up to like closer, and that has been when it was actually already, it was still venting. It had only been on, landed like 20 minutes type of thing. So obviously this is a bigger vehicle. It's a larger flight. It's a more risk flight, much more higher risk for this flight than a Falcon. This is a test flight. Falcon's operational. So we are going to I'll see if I can get an answer for you for a future broadcast timer. That's a really great question. If one of the team can write that one down in the back channels, that would be really great to remember. But it's quick. It's not hours. There are exclusion areas um, that will stay in effect all the time. Like there is an exclusion zone around Starbase all the time. That's why you can't fly drones when you visit. You can't just fly over it. You have to be at a certain altitude to fly over, things like that. So there is kind of permanent restrictions, just like there is around an airport. But for these bigger trajectory like areas for the trajectory of the flight, those go into effect normally like minutes before the flight and expire minutes after it's finished. So, airlines that are planning trips across the Gulf, they will plan accordingly, cruise ships as well, things like that. Is the clock still actual? Yes, we did have a 30-minute delay. So that is why we are at 1 hour, 25 minutes and counting rather than an hour. Evil, how many V3s do they have built planned? As many as they need. We do know ship 40 is getting close to being done, it sounds like. We know that they've got a couple more boosters well built as well. Yes, they've got many more coming. There is not a final number, and I don't believe there'll ever be kind of like a final number how many they need. But put it into retrospect, if the plans on how Starship will work, we will need thousands of ships, but we will only need dozens or low hundreds of boosters. The boosters are what's going to be a more rapid turnaround. The ships are where you're going to need hundreds of ships, if not thousands, when we start doing Moon Mars stuff, because obviously submissions will take years, go to Mars, eventually come back, and things like that. So, Jennifer, do you need to adjust the window closing time? No. So the window closing time does not get pushed 30 minutes. So the window closing time is a hard cutoff. So that clock time should not have changed. That is still at a hard 2 hours, 24 minutes from now, which should be, that's correct. Got me double checking my math. But great questions. Keep sending those in. I appreciate it. Sniffy asking what's some of the slang. So RUD, I think that's one that I've said a few times already. RUD means rapid unplanned disassembly. Basically, it goes boom. MECO, main engine cutoff. So that's when this engines shut down on the main stage. We have SECO, which is second engine cutoff. So that would be when the second stage engines cut off. We have max Q. That's the moment of max pressure that the vehicle goes through. When best way of thinking of it is like a pop can. When a pop can is sealed and it's pressurized, it's very durable. You can even stand on a pop can for most people. But when you pop open the lid, it loses all of its strength. So max Q is the moment that you would be squeezing the hardest on that pop can, and you just hope that it doesn't go pop at that point. So max Q is definitely the riskiest, one of the riskiest points in the flight. I think those are the main ones that we use for acronyms or short form slang for Starship. If anyone else has any ideas, you can drop them in the chat. I can answer some of those. Yes, the go no go did change. We had a 30-minute delay, so all of the timeline did flip with that because all of those events rely on the T0. Great questions. You can keep sending those in the chat. Appreciate y'all. If you haven't yet, share out the stream as well. Invite people to join us. We got a little bit more time because we did have that 30-minute delay. If you're just joining us, the launch window was opening at 5:30 local time, and it was extending till 7 local time. at Starbase, and that has now been delayed. That they are targeting launch at 6 local time, and obviously the window still goes to 7. So they are 1/3 of the way into the window. The amount of time that they have. They've already used up 30 minutes of it, so they have 60 minutes left. So the window for launch closes in 2 hours and 21 minutes. If we're not off the ground by then, or if we have not, and there's even a better way of looking at this, if we have not begun fueling when there needs to be more time in the window close countdown than there is in the go no go for prop load. If go no go for prop load has more time ever than window closes, we're already done for the day. It's one of the reasons we try to do some of our countdown clocks like this. We do everything real world time. So even if a launch provider uses T0s, which T0 can pause, we use L minus, which is the real world. So you know exactly how many minutes and seconds you have until those things. ZVZ Sun, I have a suggestion for TLP home base names. Sol 1, Space Operations and Landings. If you get a second base somewhere else, it would be Sol 2 for your consideration. That's awesome. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. I appreciate that. If you guys have name suggestions for TLPHQ, we've got a couple playing around with. Obviously, we have our van, Luna. If you're fans of Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, we are very excited that Luna has joined TLP for the next story, part of her story. And if you are a member over on Patreon, we just relaunched our Patreon. You can go behind the scenes and see what we're doing. We've got some very big plans for Luna this summer. And we'll be taking our members really deep behind the scenes on it. So if you are here as a member on YouTube, we thank you so much. That gets your name in green, gets that helmet next to your name, member only videos, things like that. But definitely check out Patreon. We have a lot of perks that are exclusive to Patreon as well. And we get a bit more back from that as well. So we really appreciate your guys' support. Jennifer, did they ever explain why they swapped out a few black tiles for white tiles in certain sections? Likely research. Not that I heard of, but yeah, exactly what it was. This is all research. Anything they do is research. We are not at any point in an operational stance at this point. Once we get to there, that's where we'll see things start locking down. I really hope you didn't skip your treatment for this. You can always watch this on the replay. That treatment is very important. So if you can, please go to it, because there is a high chance this doesn't go today and your treatment is more important. Flint and Steel, hello from Canada. For those that don't know, what's the biggest features and changes from V2 to V3? So many. I was talking a little bit earlier. The best way to think of this is an entirely new launch vehicle. The entire ship has changed. The entire booster has changed. The entire pad has changed. There has been a lot of changes here. Some of the ones that are most visual, obviously it's gotten a bit taller. The pad is a completely different structure. It's no longer on that like table pedestal that it had. It is a much more formal looking launch mount with flame diverters and much more powerful water diversion flame diverter. For grid fins on the Super Heavy booster, there's only 3. There is no longer 4 of them. We have a larger dome on top of the Super Heavy booster. The hot stage ring is no longer a ring. It is a permanent part of the Super Heavy booster, so it does not jettison anymore. It is affixed to the booster and is we can see through all of it. It's much thinner structure, so you can actually see a bit more of it. And I can actually show you that a little bit better here with our punched in camera. If we take that to the bigger screen for you guys, we can switch to this one. I'll zoom in as much as we can, but you can see that hot stage ring. Well, you could until the tower vent decided to block it a little bit, but you can actually see it there between the ship and the booster. You can kind of see the dome there, and then you can see the lines of where that hot stage ring is below the flap and above the grid fin. That's that new hot stage ring that is affixed to Super Heavy, and you can actually see the size of that dome too as well. Keeping in mind how large of a vehicle this is, that you are able to see this. And we are shooting this from 5 miles away. It's quite incredible at just how clear you can actually see it, even though we're shooting through some of that heat. So lots of things. They're trying new adhesives for the tiles, new shapes, new sizes, new placements. I'm sure there is a ton of internal changes that we don't know about because this is a ITAR restricted vehicle. So a lot of things we don't get to know about. When is the next launch window? We don't have a next. We have backups for the FAA. Backup would be tomorrow. Generally, we don't have launches on the weekends. So if we didn't get there, we would be back on maybe Monday, but Monday's a holiday in the States, so likely Tuesday. They are going to deploy satellites. I see a couple people mentioning that. Yes, there are 22 Starlink simulators on board, but 2 of them do have cameras and transmitters on them to hopefully take some pictures of the tiles on Starship before reentry has occurred. So that's going to be really interesting. They haven't done that before. They have deployed Starlink simulators before, but they have not had ones that transmitted data. So technically speaking, this is the first operational mission of Starship. It will deploy a payload, just it will be deploying a payload on a suborbital trajectory. But a big step forward for Starship to actually have a payload on board that isn't just, bulk weights proving out the dispenser. Colin says, "Buy TLP merch. I love my new shirt. Awesome. I appreciate that, Colin. Yeah, you can head over to launchpad.store. That's where we have all of our apparel available, our launch gear, posters. We will get some V3 booster and ship prints up in the next few days as well. So keep an eye out for those. We have our 2026 calendars. 2027 calendars will be coming in just a few months. So make sure you keep an eye out for those. We're going to open up a pre-order early for you guys. Lots of new stuff coming to the shop as well. So definitely check that out. It's a great way of helping support what we do here at TLP. So thanks for mentioning that, Colin. I do want to also just very quickly, for those that ordered around Artemis, thank you so much for your patience with the shop. We are a small team. And we are very grateful for the wave of orders that came in very fast, and it's taken us a little bit of time to catch up on those. So thank you. If you are waiting for your order, everything is in production now. We have caught up on that, and everything should be shipping very soon. So thank you for your patience on that. We've learned a lot from it and are in a better place that shouldn't ever happen again as well. So thank you so much. Try to be transparent on those things. So we only get to do this because of you guys. So there's no point in hiding things. Pavel, how do you know it's 5 miles? Because I've been where these cameras are. There are cameras. I've watched a couple of launches from that spot. So odds that the mail slot prevents the dummy satellites from launching. Well, hopefully they figured out the door. It's worked the last couple of times. Catching up on your guys's. Ian, do you know the reason for the large patches of the tiles for the cool side of the ship testing? All of this comes down to testing. I don't know if there's components in those specific areas that they're looking for. If they're just testing to see how they hold on, maybe they're testing other adhesives just on other places. Obviously, they want to try to make sure Starship makes it all the way back, but they could test other things on other places. So there's a lot of options on why that is. And unfortunately, SpaceX doesn't tell us everything. As long as Hal opens the door. Exactly, Jennifer. When we see the Starship start deploying Starlinks, that's all when we I'll say amaze. Dave says he voted for a successful splashdowns. That is good. I hope for that as well. DCF says not a great time for Europe watchers. I agree. Lots of Red Bull or coffee. I appreciate those of you that are staying up late for us to watch this flight, and for anyone watching it with us. It's an honor that you guys pick us to watch the launch. We know there's many places that you guys can watch, and we are glad to have your guys' support of being here. We only get to do this because of you guys. Say hello to the KSP fans. I love a good KSP Kerbal session. Haven't played it in a long time, but you actually played it on the channel a while back. Timer 192. What is the part of the launch sequence when Starship is most likely to fail? Ooh, because it's a new vehicle, all of it. No. Max Q, the moment of peak mechanical stress is a huge failure point, because that's obviously the most pressure of the vehicle. Uh, Hot staging, you're igniting the engines on the ship while still attached to the booster. It's a new booster, new dome, new hot stage ring, so that's a new sequence. For the ship, it's only got 3 grid fins, so it's the first time they're ever flying with an uneven number of grid fins on it, and those are not equally spaced 3. There's just one side that doesn't have one. So that could be something that we would watch closely for possibly the failure on boost back and the booster flying back for soft splashdown in the Gulf, and then reentry. So if I was listing them, Max Q. Actually, if I was listing them in order, reentry I'm most worried about for the ship, and then I would say max Q of the ship and booster together, and then I would say the booster boost back, separation boost back, uh, kind of third. But let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? What are you guys most looking for as your risky moment? When will you exhale and breathe that things you made past that point? Johnny, don't say that. Johnny, don't say that. That's scary. Gemini is doing some crazy things this week. Some huge announcements from Gemini. It's actually really cool. But definitely stepping forward into a new future of technology. Can see some large tower venting there as they get closer and closer to that go no go for prop load. Now less than 20 minutes till we have that, and less than 30 minutes till liquid oxygen would begin flowing onto the ship, which means all the propellant lines from the tank farm all the way up to the tower and up the tower would need to be chilled and filled and ready for propellant loading. If you're just joining us, though, welcome here to the launch pad. We're counting down 1 hour, 9 minutes, 8 seconds, and counting to the current T0 for Starship Super Heavy Flight 12, the first ever flight of V3 Starship and the Super Heavy booster and the brand new Pad B with an all new orbital launch mount. No, I haven't heard of that YouTube channel, but I'll have to check it out. The Rory Knight, when the Starship can get to orbit, will the Starship be able to get to orbit with only the booster? So what you see now on your screen, this can make it to orbit, but this cannot make it to the moon or Mars. You would need to launch anywhere from 16 to 20 of what you see on your screen to go to the moon. We don't have a final number for Mars. So yes, there is definitely lots of launches coming in the near future. If you thought Falcon 9 launched a lot last year, we've actually slowed down on Falcon 9s. I don't get to talk to you guys as much because we're not having as many launches of Falcon 9 right now. We had a week break from Vandenberg. We had 2 weeks in Florida. So it's going to be interesting kind of year or two as we see that transition. And then when Starship comes online, we know we have 2 pads in Texas. One's in a renovation right now, and we have this one. We have one at LC-39A at Kennedy in Florida. We have 2 being built at Cape Canaveral in Florida. There are suggestions that there might be 2 or more added to Florida. So you could see anywhere from 3 to 5 or 7 pads in Florida. We all expect at least 1 or 2 to be built in Vandenberg. There are pretty solid rumors out of Louisiana that SpaceX is looking at acquiring land also on the Gulf to build. I would expect at least 2 towers there. So very quickly, SpaceX could be somewhere where they have anywhere from 5 to 10 pads just in the United States, and they are beginning to look at international sites as well. So just within that, if you said you wanted to launch 1 rocket a week from each pad, that could be 10 Starships a week. And SpaceX is definitely at a point that they could do that. They need to be able to build them, right? So they're still in that development phase, build them and transport them. But we are expecting the transport barge from Florida to Starbase to test the first loading of a booster or a ship onto their new drone ship. Um, to take things to Florida. So they are starting to test these next things that we need to really see them be able to scale up and start launching these frequently. Depending how V3 goes, I'd say we're less than a year away from having at least one or two of these a month. Um, I would say maybe less than 2 years. We see one every 2 weeks or less if things go as planned, and hopefully it's even faster than that. And it'll go in waves, right? Like you're not just going to be always launching for no reason. Starlinks will transition from Falcon 9 to Starship. So then we'll see a lot less Falcon 9s, which is going to be really, really interesting. Yes, there will be onboard cameras from SpaceX. We will patch those in. They pushed the ship through a lot of extra stress on purpose. Do you know if they'll be doing that again? They haven't said, but they generally don't push it any more than they want to learn what the ship can do. So they're not pushing it just saying, let's do it. They're pushing it to where they want to test it to know. You need to know where a ship like this breaks. And that's what they are testing. What's the point of methalox over Carolox and Hydrolox? You can make methalox on Mars. Starship was designed around the Mars program. Unknown user, is this kind of a proof of concept launch or is this a genuine mission ready launch? Both. It's a great question. I appreciate you sending that in. This is the first ever flight of this version of the ship and this version of the booster, and this is a brand new pad. So this is a test flight in all schemes of it. It has test Starlink satellites on board, which it will deploy that will fall back to Earth. But two of those satellites will transmit photo data or video data. And that's the first time Starship has deployed something that is an active satellite, even though it's only going to live for like 20 minutes. So technically, this is a genuine mission and an active mission. But we'll be keeping a close eye on it. Just catching up on a couple things in the back channels. If you're just joining us, though, welcome here to the launch pad. You can send in your questions like everyone is. I really appreciate you guys using the tag there. It really does help me out by tagging me at the launch pad. So thank you so much for doing that. I see Ian saying another 30-minute delay. Oh, and that is now confirmed from SpaceX. They are now targeting 1 hour, 33 minutes from now. We will update our timer again. So that is not looking great for making it to the window here today, because that does mean they only have 30 minutes left in their window today. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. But if you're just joining us, confirmed by SpaceX, we have had another 30-minute delay, which means we only have 30 minutes left in today's launch window. Thank you for sending that in there, Ian. I appreciate it. Managing many things while running the stream and monitoring the chat and answering questions. So I appreciate those tags. They really do help. But yeah, if you're just joining us, we have had another 30-minute delay. Those timelines updated. The new go no go for prop load 42 minutes from now. Liftoff 1 hour, 32 minutes, 30 seconds from now. No update that I have seen. I will confirm again from SpaceX on why. So we are keeping an eye on that as we proceed closer and closer. Yeah, the last update we had from SpaceX was 5 hours ago. The only confirmation of these delays is by the time on their website. So that's what we're keeping a close eye on it. If they need it, they do have FAA backup windows as early as tomorrow. So if possible, we just might get to do this all again tomorrow. But that's the Starship program, right? It's a test, test, test. Oh, sorry, Rory. I misunderstood your question there. Rory's asking for the earlier question: Can Starship would the Super Heavy be able to get Starship to orbit on its own, or would you need to tap into Starship's fuel? You need Starship's fuel. So Starship's fuel would get it to orbit. The booster itself cannot because you need to circularize. So the booster gets it most of the way there, and then the Starship takes over and then burns further to actually get itself into orbit. The booster itself could not, and Starship cannot even do a suborbital hop. In the early days, people were looking at the numbers of like, could you do almost like New Shepard flights with Starship, up and downs? And you could if you had a very empty ship, based on some of the rough math. But it does not look like that's what it would not be possible. So sorry to hear about that, Marcine. Thanks for being here. You can watch the replay if it goes, or if not, we'll hopefully have it tomorrow. Have a great night. Thanks for being here. Taking a look at the weather. Yeah, we're keeping an eye on that. Weather's the thing that they got to watch, right? It's a test flight. They want to make sure that they have good weather, right? They have criteria for that specifically. Brian is asking, is it true that a dedicated SpaceX Falcon Heavy pad is being built at Vandenberg? Yes. So the old space shuttle pad that never launched shuttle, but had a beautiful, beautiful launch pad for shuttle that then hosted the Delta IV Heavy for the United Launch Alliance, which retired a number of years ago with its last flight from Vandenberg. That pad was acquired by SpaceX. SpaceX has knocked down a lot of it, and they are building that into a Falcon Heavy pad. Is there the ability that maybe they could launch single sticks Falcon 9s from there, like 39A? Absolutely, there's the possibility of that, but we have only heard about Falcon Heavy being at that pad. But there is the possibility they could swap out the stand, the strong back, the base of the pad. They have to swap for Falcon Heavy as well, so it's possible, but likely it'll just be a Falcon Heavy pad, similar to Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy in Florida is now Falcon Heavy only, while they build the Starship pad right next to it. 39A is exclusively now from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral in Florida and Slick 4E at Vandenberg. Between the builds is asking, is the focus for moon missions or Mars or both? So SpaceX as a company, SpaceX was always built on the focus of Mars. That was SpaceX. It's this SpaceX's name is actually the Space Exploration Company. So we just call it SpaceX. That's what everyone calls it, and so does SpaceX. They don't call it Space Exploration. But about 2 months ago, Blue Origin suspended all New Shepard operations and focused on their moon program with New Glenn and their lunar lander, which I've been lucky enough to actually see the mock-up of MK2 while I was at Houston. Unfortunately, I was not allowed to take photos of it, but it was really incredible to get to see it while we were visiting for Artemis 2. Huge thank you to NASA for that. So to have seen MK2 right next to Orion, really, it's quite an incredible lander. I'm really excited. We saw a lot. I am allowed to say we saw a lot of Blue Origin at NASA. We saw some SpaceX, but we saw a lot of Blue Origin. They were everywhere. So big stuff coming from Blue Origin. But about 2-3 days later, SpaceX announced that they were focusing basically exclusively on the moon right now as well. That's where the money is, right? That's where the government grants and programs are. That's what's funding this. NASA has given billions of dollars to both of these companies. So Mars is on like the back burner. And everything that we're learning for the moon, we need for Mars. So in a way, it's still both, but the real primary focus is getting to the moon. We are in a race with China, and that is what we are keeping a close eye on. Just catching up on the chat here. They are currently targeting now a liftoff time of 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. That is 30 minutes before the end of their launch window. We have those two timers in the top right of your screen for you to keep a close eye on that. The go no go for propellant loading about 30, just under 37 minutes now from when we would expect that to happen. And every time we've approached that, that's when we've had the delays. So I would expect, and I'm just to give you guys an honest perspective of where we're at. I would expect if we're not going, we will find out in the next 30 minutes. I do not think they'll run all the way to go no go for prop. They'll know whether they're going to get there or not. We do not know if they are working any issues. I will say that we're not going to guess that they are. We're not going to guess that they're not. But we have had 2 30-minute delays. We had a 90-minute window. So I would expect if we're not going to make an attempt at fueling today, we will know more in the next 30 minutes. I do not think we'll get to that go no go. If we get to that go no go, I think we're going to run through fueling. So we'll keep an eye. Curricular. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I know I am. If there's no go for launch, do they unload the rocket or they keep it there until the next one? So if they are going to attempt tomorrow, they leave it stacked. Starship can stand stacked for weeks. It has those chopsticks. They would just lower the chopsticks into a lower area, and they could attach them even if they needed to add some structure. The quick disconnect is attached to the ship. That gives some structure as well. So it can stand there. If they had fully loaded, then they would need to, if they had fully fueled, then they would need to offload the fuel, and then they would need to recycle and make sure that they have enough fuel. Or if we get all the way that they activate the flame diverter, the water system for launch, if we get to that, but then they still abort the launch at that point, they only have enough water. I believe it's for 2 ignitions. So, and we saw them do one last night. So that would be something that we'd have to keep an eye on them doing. Raleigh, thank you so much for sending in that super chat. Looks like a major technical issue. Waiting further updates from SpaceX. A 30-minute delay occurring 2 times in a row. Such a time interval is not the best news. But I will completely agree. It is better to scrub than RUD, but I would not say major technical issues. I will say that is a very overstatement. We don't know. It could be weather. It could be range. There could be a cruise ship 4,000 miles downrange in the Gulf, or there could be a cruise ship in the Indian Ocean or a plane. There's a billion things. Well, not a billion. There are thousands of things that have to go right for a launch, and many are completely out of their control. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't an issue. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. SpaceX will tell us more, but we'll keep a close eye on that as we continue through the timeline here today. But thank you so much for that super chat. You stopped me in my tracks of my thought there. So if you ever want to derail me, that's the best way of doing it. Sending it in a super chat like that. It shocks you. But as Mark says as well, it's always better to scrub than a RUD. 100%. Though RUDs are fun and we all like to see something go boom. Admit it, we all do. I can see it in the viewer numbers. When I post a successful launch of a Starship, y'all don't watch the video. When Starship goes boom, like 100x if you watch the video. So admit it, we all do like seeing it go boom, but we want Starship to work. We want to put people, this is what's crazy. We want to put people on one of these in just over a year for a test flight in low Earth orbit. We want to put a Starship in low Earth orbit and dock Orion with people to it and open the hatch. In 2 years, if SpaceX currently has the contract for the lunar landing, there's a chance Blue Origin could beat them and be ready better, and NASA picks them. But if SpaceX continues and SpaceX is ready, there is a chance in less than 2 years, 18 to 20 months from now, we want to put people on one of these to land on the moon. That is how close we are. We do not want to see failures anymore. Though they're fun, we don't want to see failures anymore. They're fun to watch. They're not fun when you think about how much money one of these flights are, right? Keeping in mind how much fuel alone this thing needs. It's a lot. It is a lot. Oh, cool. That's cool. Dreamland. We hit 5K on Discord. Awesome. If you guys haven't yet, join us over on the TLP Discord. We would Love to see you in there. That's where the community hangs out in between streams, and you guys are more than welcome over there. Lots of people from all over the world there with different channels to talk about it. And so definitely check that out. Place to share things that's off topic as well. So it's free to join. But if you are a TLP member, there are behind the scenes areas as well. Timer 192, second stage landing estimate is 70 minutes after liftoff. Yes, that sounds about right. That does sound correct. Between the builds says, great stream. Time for sleep here. Hope for launch. Well, thank you so much for that super chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. I do appreciate your support and being here. If you do need to head off, I don't know. I don't think I have a voice that you would want to fall asleep to, but each their own. You can leave us on or you can pause the stream. We will leave the stream up even if it doesn't go, that you can watch the replay at another time, and we'll go from there. But thanks so much for being here and thanks for supporting us at that level. I appreciate that. NPC 386, does the clock go up? Yes. When we lift off, the clock starts counting the other direction. Obviously, if we get to a liftoff, we will remove the windows, close one, and the timers on the left we will remove as well. But gives you a good idea of where we're at as we progress towards this launch. Catching up on your guys' comments in the chat. Germany just crossed to the 22nd. So yes, for some of you, this will be a launch on the 22nd. For some of us, it'll be a launch on the 21st. Taking a look at that poll that we had running in the chat there between the streams, it's actually, wow, I don't think we've ever had one this even with the different number of votes, but exact same results. 53% saying both booster and ship will splash down. 32% saying we won't launch today. 8% saying that either the ship or the booster will have an issue. And 5% saying both will have an issue. Hopefully that's not true, but let us know what you guys think in that poll there. And while you do, make sure you take a moment, engage that like button, and share out the stream. ICU has a question. Would the possibility of expanding the space station be possible with rocket's payload capacity? For the ISS, no, but yes. The ISS is at a point of retirement. There's not saving that. It's already like 15 years past when it was supposed to live till. So the ISS is coming down in the next 5-ish years, 2030, 2032, somewhere around there. But to give you an idea of scale, the entire living area of Starship, the actual livable space, is more than the entire International Space Station living space. If you do like square footage of or cube, is it not square? Is it cubed meters? I believe if you do the 3-dimensional space, if you take all the 3D space on the ISS, there's actually more in a single Starship. Which is one of the reasons why a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be so cool. We'll dock a Starship to the space station. The space station actually would have a struggle with its thrusters being able to stay, not that it has to be balanced, but like if you needed to move the space station wouldn't be able to turn itself with its thrusters because Starship would be so big with it. So it's really an interesting thing that really you could launch one of these and replace the ISS. Hey, Jada, good to see you. Hello from SOC. Great to see everyone from there. Timer, how much would an ISS refuel service life extension be? So the issue isn't refueling. The issue is the modules are getting old. So that's what they are. That's what they're having to watch for, is the age of the modules. And these modules were built. Some of them were said to be, good till like 2012, 2015. And here we are at 2026 saying we're going to put people in them until 2030. So it is something that it's coming up to the end of its life. And that's expected, but Jared Isaacman, the NASA administrator, has confirmed they will keep it up. They plan until they have other commercial options in orbit, or NASA is just going to put up its own core module that then other people can dock to. But they do not want to lose that ability to say we always have people in low Earth orbit. If you are 25 or younger, there has always been someone floating in low Earth orbit of our planet your entire life. And most people don't realize that, right? Like we take for granted that we have the International Space Station and we now have the Tiangong Space Station from China. We have two space stations with a minimum of three people on the Tiangong and a minimum of three people on the International Space Station, up to 11 or 12 at times on the ISS, and up to six at times on the Chinese space station. We've got at times almost 20 people in low Earth orbit just floating above your head, and we don't think about it. That's a really cool place to be. And we're going to have a lot more space stations, and hopefully by we don't have dates, but hopefully by 2035, we look at the moon and we can be like, there's people there right now. And we want to do the same thing as the International Space Station, where we want to have crews always going to the moon that we, rotate them out however frequently we need to. But you can look at the moon and be like, there's always people there. We're not going back just to put footprints on the dirt and plant a flag again. And that's what the White House is saying. That's what NASA is saying. That's what all the Artemis Accord partners are saying. This is the time to go back, build a base, and get ready to go to Mars. Catching up on your guys' questions that you're sending. Lots of questions in the chat. Um, when was the Falcon 9 launched with those Starlink satellites? Which one? There have been hundreds of them. We had one early this morning. I believe there's an Electron in the early morning hours tonight. There's generally at least one Starlink a week, if not like up to three. And those Starlink missions, eventually, once Starship's online, will transition. That we will see Starships launching frequently, deploying Starlinks, because the Starlinks that fit on Starship are a lot larger and a lot more capable than the Starships that are on Falcon 9. If you're just joining us, though, 1 hour, 14 minutes, 24 seconds and counting till the current T0 from SpaceX. We have had an hour delay, so that is the current new T0 we are counting down to. If that holds in 24 minutes and 12 seconds, we should have a go, no go for propellant loading. You can see in the bottom right corner of your screen on the wide shot, large venting coming from the tank farm. We are seeing venting coming from the tower as well. We've seen that on the left shot and all the wide shots. So they are in active preparation to be able to do fueling. We do not know the reason for the delay, but we are keeping a close eye on that for any updates on if we have any more delays, if we're going to step into fueling, or if we're going to have some other word and decision happen today, which we really hope we don't have that today, but we'll keep an eye on it. I realize we've been looking at the hot stage ring for a little bit, but taking a look at the ship there, we'll have to zoom out a little bit to actually fit the entire ship. This is also shows you just the scale of this. Version 1, we could fit the entire ship on this camera, and now version 2 we can't. So that just shows you how much bigger the ship has gone, and the booster as well. So we'll make a quick little adjustment on the camera there so you guys can see the entire ship. You can actually see the color difference where the heat shield tiles are on the front of the flaps versus the edge, and you can kind of see a lot of the perspective of what is all there for the ship. And we'll take a look at the booster in a little bit here as well. If there's anything you guys specifically would like to see on the ship or the booster, you can let me know. We can kind of look around and see what's happening. These are our own cameras that we operate. Thanks to one of our crew for maintaining them for us, for John maintaining them. And yeah, the really incredible views here today. We're really thankful this wasn't a morning launch, because this morning you could hardly see the pad. And now we have a really nice clear shot of the pad. So keeping a very close eye on how things are progressing. And I'm going to take us on a full wide here for just a moment. But you can see lots of tank farm activity now. coming up on the left side. That is where pad A or pad 1 was. That's where you would have been seeing the first 11 flights of Starship. And now we're way over on that far right side. And that is pad B or pad 2. Let us know in the chat what you prefer to call it, pad 2, pad B, or do you have another name for it? But all that fuel gets run through lines up the tower, either up through the bottom into the booster or up the tower through the quick disconnect into the ship. So we're keeping lots of close eyes on the different points where we're seeing the different types of venting that we want to see if we're going to progress through the timeline for a liftoff opportunity here in an hour, 11 minutes, 30 seconds from now. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage the like button, share out the stream, invite people to join us. We appreciate you guys doing that. It's a really big help for us. Just checking on some things in the back channels. Do the ships pilot themselves from the beginning to the end, or is there a form of manual control? They, like Dragon, have onboard computers that are programmed. So there is a mission control that can control it, but like it flies basically itself. I'm not sure we would say it's fully autonomous at this point. Like there's still input from the ground into it. So yeah, great question. I'd have to confirm that fully on how you would classify it. But yeah, it flies itself. There's nobody on board or anything. Do we have a time for go, no go? Yep, we are 20 minutes, 30 seconds, I believe it is, away from go, no go for propellant loading, which means they would be in it now. Right? Like a go, no go doesn't only take 10 seconds to do, it takes some time. So I'd expect they'd be stepping into that go, no go with the next 5 to 10 minutes, which would line up to where we've seen the previous delay announcements being at that kind of 10 minutes to prop load go, no go. So that would make sense to someone saying no go and them just delaying immediately. So catching up there. If you guys are just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. Now counting down just under 1 hour, 9 minutes to that expected T0, that confirmed T0 from SpaceX, what they are currently targeting. We are hoping that they will be able to run the countdown to that point. We are keeping a close eye on that. Corbett, what are the odds it launches? Well, I know someone checked Polymarket earlier, and I'm not telling you to go do that and bet on this. I actually completely agree you don't. But there was something that it was, they were betting that it wasn't going to go well. And then there was, does it launch by today was 59%. Does it launch by tomorrow is up to 82%, which is up 27%, I think, today. And launch by the 31st of May is up 44% today by 95%. So people are basically confident it will launch by the end of the month. 82% believe the booster will have an issue, up 30%. Only 63% say successful splashdown, which means we have better well, we asked if it wasn't going to go today, but we have people more confident that that's not going to happen. So shockingly, 1% of people think the chopsticks were going to catch the booster, which we know is not going to happen. So it just shows that that's not what's going to happen. Clouds are clearing up. Yeah, it is definitely looking like a better day the longer we've waited. Camera's getting crisper, are dealing with some of that heat distortion just for that distance. So keeping an eye on those timelines. But as we get closer and closer to that go no go for prop load, that's where we're going to see if there is a change or not from SpaceX. That's where we will get that in the next about 16 minutes from now. But seeing that tank farm still active, that's a great sign. We're seeing some very large venting. You can see there on the bottom right of your screen. I'll take it full screen just for a second there. Lots of venting coming now from the tank farm as we continue to count down towards that time. We are 7 minutes away from the opening of the window. So if we were going to have launched at the opening of the window, we'd be at T minus 7 minutes right now. But we obviously are not there. We're an hour and 6 minutes, and hopefully we'll be able to have a launch opportunity here today. If you're just joining us, though, you're looking at live views coming in from our TLP owned cameras down at Starbase. 3 views for you: wide shot, tower shot, full stack shot. And then, of course, we have our ultra zoomed in one where we can take a look and show you guys around. So, yeah, if there's things you guys want to see, take a moment, let us know. We can take a look around, see the different vents that is happening. Can see more venting from the tower. Can actually get a really great view of the new orbital launch mount that they have. It's no longer kind of like a table. I might actually even just put this camera at this shot at liftoff just to see what that looks like there. You can have a really great view of the quick disconnect system there and the water deluge. So we'll have an idea if that has fired off or not as we continue through the countdown. But yeah, if things progress, just now about 15 minutes to that go no go for propellant loading. Thanks for the valuable replies to questions. Why are launch windows so short? Is the time set by the authorities or SpaceX? The time is set by a whole bunch of factors. There's a lot of things in orbit. You need to be able to launch through those and not hit anything. You need to have all the flight corridors cleared, the ocean corridors cleared, right? No cruise ships, cargo ships, things like that. You have to have road closures and beach closures. There's a lot of things that have to go right. If this was a different mission, like deploying satellites or Moon or Mars, then you're limited based on time of actually being able to get to your destination. Because this is a test flight, it's a bit more open. But it is something that we are keeping an eye on. They do run normally shorter windows for Starship, and if they step into fueling, that really limits them. That they can't just sit fully fueled for 90 minutes or 5 hours because they want to. They have to lock in, and yeah. So we'll be keeping an eye on all of that as we progress here towards that go no go for propellant loading. Well, we haven't had any updates from SpaceX as of yet that I have seen. Normally, we do get a confirmation from them that they are like go for prop load. They normally do give us a tweet for that. They are planning to go live actually just prior to the fuel actually beginning, 45 minutes to launch. So hopefully we'll be able to have that on schedule. We are ready to patch that in so we can listen into their updates as we continue. Bilbo Baggins, thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate that support. Will it fly over Spain? No. If it does, we've had a major problem. It is going the complete opposite direction of that. ISAA Aerospace. What does fail mean for these rockets? Um, a fail would be it explodes on the pad. Anything other than that is learning. SpaceX has made the comment that the data is the payload, and that's exactly what it is. They are learning. So any flight they complete, no matter how the flight goes, is learning. And there is a ton of data that they get back. It's incredible how much data they get back. Um, and we see like one, not even 1% of it. And with that, um, obviously they want to clear the pad, right? Like, so for flight one, the first ever time they flew Starship, Elon said the mission objective was to get off the pad and clear the tower. And they did that. So technically they met the objectives. Anything after that, they were overjoyed with. And they did that. It ended in total disaster. That I mean, I even had stuff in my lungs from it. But, so thinking about this is a brand new booster, brand new ship, brand new pad. So I would say clear the tower is a great milestone to reach to. I think they'll get a lot further than that when they fly. They've built on a lot of history of the first 11 flights, but getting off that pad is definitely something that I would say is the minimum we should expect. Why aren't they catching the booster? Because it's a test flight of a new booster and of a new tower and new ship and new pad. So they want to test the booster at least once with a soft splashdown in the Gulf, and that's what they're looking at. If you are just joining us, though, we are now under an hour away from launch, which means we should be about 10 minutes away from that go no go from propellant loading. So we're keeping a close eye for any updates from SpaceX at this time. If you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're looking at live views from our own TLP cameras down at Starbase, Texas, where we are counting down 58 minutes, 35 seconds, and counting to the current target T0 of Starship Super Heavy, the first ever V3 ship and V3 booster on a brand new pad and orbital launch mount from Starbase, Texas for Starship Flight 12. We're following along as we wait for updates from SpaceX, waiting for a confirmation of go for propellant load. We are hoping that we will hear that in the next 8 minutes from now, as propellant loading should begin in now less than 20 minutes if we are going for a launch attempt here today. Keeping in mind, we only have 30 minutes left in today's launch window for them to be able to take off. If not, they do have a backup opportunity as early as tomorrow, should they require it. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad, and here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we're glad to have you joining us live here today. If you haven't yet, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from, and while you do so, engage that like button, share the stream, invite people to join us, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage from Starbase or almost any other launch site around the world, as we bring you full live countdown launch coverage of almost every mission from around the world. And we've got a busy second half of the year coming up. We've had an incredible start to the year with Artemis 2, with Falcon Heavy, with New Glenn, and now with Starship as well. If it's your first time here, as I said, these are our own TLP cameras. They are something you can watch actually 24/7 on our Starbase broadcast. So if you ever want to see what's happening the latest at Starbase, you can watch from there. That is available to everyone. We got lots of people tuning in from all over the world, but we're so glad to have you joining us live here. We, as I said, are waiting confirmation from SpaceX whether they are going to step in to propellant loading or not here. And we're hoping that we will get a confirmation of that in writing from SpaceX. We normally do, but we are keeping an eye on the venting that you see in the bottom of your screen. Lots of venting coming from the tank farm. There is the tower vent now, again, from the quick disconnect. Great to see that coming back online. We would expect to see that if they were going to continue towards it. So they are preparing everything as if they are going to step into fueling. But we will keep an eye out and wait for confirmation of that from SpaceX. We always try to have confirmed information. We try not to speculate or guess here because you guys want actual information. So that's what we are looking for. Nothing launching to orbit this time. There are 22 Starlink simulators on board. Two of those do have cameras and transmitters on them. So technically, this is the first time Starship will ever deploy a operational satellite. But those satellites will be launched on a suborbital trajectory and will come down within like 30 minutes. But yes, so technically an operational mission, sort of. That is a very large event that we are seeing from the tower, which I take as a really great sign that we are going to step into fueling here. We are, of course, waiting for SpaceX to confirm that here in the next few minutes. So bear with us as we await for that. If you guys have questions, keep sending those in the chat by tagging me at the launch pad, and we will work on answering those live for you here this afternoon or this evening, depending where you are joining us from. Another boat passing by, so you can see. But yes, and now very large vents coming from the tower there. Really is a good sign that they are going to most likely progress to tanking. But we'll hopefully have confirmation from SpaceX here in the next few minutes as we get closer and closer. So bear with me as we await to confirm that. You can keep sending in those questions. We are ready to patch SpaceX in as well. We are expecting them, if they continue on this timeline, to go live now in about 9 minutes. And if they do, we will, of course, patch that into the broadcast. T-minus 53 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. I'm watching from California. I live close enough to Vandenberg, see all the SpaceX launches from my backyard. Cheers, chat. Thanks for the coverage, CLP. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Couple questions. What type of explosives do they use to purposely red the rocket? Ooh, I'd have to look it up. We did know because we saw them bring them in back during the early flights, but they don't actually use it to like explode it. What they do is they use it to kind of like rip it open. It'll explode by itself, but it is an explosive that does that. If everything is perfect, will Flight 13 be an orbital launch? That's a SpaceX question. I would hope, but there is no guarantee that that is what the decision would be. So we could hope that they would do an orbital mission. I know that's what we're all eagerly awaiting, but we do not have a confirmation of that at all. I do want to make a note. We are about 2 minutes away from that expected go no go for prop loading. Our system will likely auto tick green when it hits 0, but I will let you know when we've confirmed that we have a go for prop loads. So bear with us as we await that confirmation. We do normally get a confirmation from SpaceX pretty quickly that they are go for prop load. Obviously, we can see all the venting. The first thing that they will load is liquid oxygen onto the ship, but we are still about 12 minutes away from that. So we normally get confirmation before propellant's moving. SpaceX is supposed to go live before propellant's actually moving as well. So we are eagerly awaiting finding out if this is going to happen here today. But some great views coming in from our cameras there down at Starbase. A huge thank you again to John on our team for maintaining these down there for us, that we have these 24/7. So we're really grateful for that. If you're just joining us, 51 minutes now until targeted liftoff of the first ever V3 flight of Starship. You can see lots of venting coming from the vehicle there now, from the tower, excuse me, and taking a look at the bottom of the pad there at Super Heavy. But that venting is definitely picking up, and we did not see venting like this earlier in the day. I'm taking this as a sign that we are going to. And 15 seconds ago, SpaceX has confirmed we are go for propellant loading. We are going to step in to propellant loading for Starship Flight 12. And that is a fantastic sign that we are going to get to have some excitement here today. 50 minutes and counting till launch of SpaceX Starship Flight 12, the first ever flight of the V3 Starship. Whatever was causing those earlier delays, they are going to at least run the clock here this evening for a flight. So if you were waiting for that moment, we have had it. We have had that go for propellant loading, and that is, I think, where we kind of all were holding our breath waiting. And that is what we're going to now step into the timeline of what we expect over the next little bit. We are expecting SpaceX to go live in the next couple of minutes. We will, of course, patch them in, listen in to them as we continue through the countdown, running you through what we expect to have happen over the next 45 minutes. At T-minus 38 minutes, 53 seconds, liquid oxygen will begin loading into Starship S-39. At T-minus 35 minutes, the booster will start being loaded with liquid oxygen. At T-minus 34 minutes, 43 seconds, liquid methane booster fuel will begin being loaded. T-minus 32 minutes, 59 seconds, the ship will then have its fuel begin being loaded. At T-minus 21 minutes, 30 seconds, the Raptor engines on both the first stage and second stage, so both the booster and the ship, will begin Raptor engine chill. At T-minus 2 minutes, 50 seconds, the booster will be fully fueled and topped off. T-minus 2 minutes, 10 seconds, the ship will be fully fueled and topped off, and all propellant load will be complete, and they will begin purging the tower and the lines. At T-minus 30 seconds, the launch director will give a final go for launch. At T-minus 40 seconds, so about 10 seconds before that, is normally where we hold if they need to hold for any reason. At T-minus 17 seconds, the new flame diverter will activate. At T-minus 3 seconds, the booster will ignite its 33 Raptor V3 engines. And at T0, excitement is guaranteed, as SpaceX says, and we will hopefully have liftoff of SpaceX Starship Flight 12. But we are now just about 9 minutes away from ship LOX load beginning, and we will step into that timeline as we get closer and closer to actually having an incredible, hopefully, flight here today. And we are glad to have you guys joining us here. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we are really glad to have you joining us live here today. We know there's many places you can be watching the launch, and we're grateful that you chose to watch it live here with us this evening. If you haven't yet, take a moment, make sure you subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage, not just Starship, but from almost any launch from around the world. We bring you full live coverage, and we will, of course, do that right here on TLP. SpaceX is getting their stream spooled up, so give me 30 seconds to patch that in. I'm going to continue answering your guys' comments and questions as we get closer and closer to launch, and then through the flight, we will be answering those as well. So you can send those in. By tagging me at the launch pad. Some of them I'll answer in the chat. Others I will save to answer when there is a time to be able to answer it through a commentary break. You can see some very large venting from the tank farm as we continue to step towards the launch of SpaceX Starship Flight 12 here today. Sorry about that little audio there, getting SpaceX on your screen. And we'll move it around. We'll keep a close eye on the ship as we get closer to liftoff here, but we will, of course, listen into SpaceX. I cannot beat their cameras. Nobody can beat their cameras. Their cameras are on the pad and on the rocket and on the booster. So we will, of course, get them on screen and listen into them as much as we can while we continue through the countdown here. T-minus 45 minutes, 45 seconds, and counting. Press start. Ask, is it going over the same trajectory as previous flights over to the Indian Ocean? It is still going to the Indian Ocean, but it is not going the same trajectory. It is going on it's not a polar trajectory, but it'll be launching more to the south and then up and around. I see someone asking 51 minutes. Now you said 51 minutes. Well, right now 45 minutes to launch, but we are 6 minutes till LOX load begins on the ship. And you can see SpaceX is getting spooled up, ready to go for today's flight. So we are going to patch them in and listen in to mission control for an update on how the countdown is progressing while we count down to launch of the historic Flight 12 of the Starship Super Heavy program. Let's listen in to SpaceX mission control as only the paranoid survive.
Hello, Star people, and welcome to Starbase, Texas. It's currently 5:46 p.m. Central Time, and we are just over 43 minutes away from the first flight of SpaceX's next generation vehicle, Starship version 3. I'm Kate Tice, Senior Manager of Quality Systems Engineering.
And I'm Jake Berkowitz, a lead propulsion engineer. And today we're coming to you live from just outside the production floor at Star Factory, where the team's preparing for Starship's 12th test flight.
Yeah, it's been a few months since our last update, and in that time, the team has been working hard to completely redesign the entire rocket that you see there from the ground up.
Yeah, that's right, Kate. Starship version 3 has undergone significant upgrades, taking everything we've learned from the previous 11 flights to make a vehicle capable of full and rapid reusability.
This includes everything from a new booster, new ship, new engines, to a new launch pad, new avionics, new software, and so much more. All of that hardware is just down the road at Pad 2, a little over a mile and a half away from Jake and myself. And in our viewing area outside on the lawn, Starbase employees are excited and already starting to gather to watch today's flight.
Yeah, and right behind us are 3 generations of Raptor engines, and today will be the first flight of the newest generation, Raptor V3. And the 33 Raptors on Super Heavy booster combined to generate 18 million pounds of thrust. You can see them all there.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And it makes Starship by far the most powerful rocket of all time. And for comparison, we have over twice the thrust of the Saturn V rocket that carried astronauts to the moon. And then here, of course, you can see on ship, we have another 6 engines, and 3 of them feature the larger vacuum-optimized nozzles called RVACs. And as a member of the Raptor team, I can tell you that we're all incredibly excited to put V3 to the test today and demonstrate the capabilities of our most advanced engine. And we'll get into all the exciting new details in just a few moments.
Yeah, that excitement is well warranted, Jake. Raptor and Starship V3 are designed to be foundational for the future of the program. They're designed to enable us to send payloads and eventually people all the way to the moon and Mars, ultimately helping us make life multiplanetary and extending the light of consciousness to the stars.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we're planning to put Starship to work shortly by launching bigger and more powerful Starlink version 3 satellites. These new satellites aim to substantially increase capacity in orbit, strengthen the network, and deliver an improved experience for customers on Earth. Starship will also carry our upcoming V2 Starlink mobile satellites, which are expected to provide direct 5G connectivity from space straight to mobile phones worldwide.
Now, as a reminder for all of you watching at home, what we're doing today is a test. Like we mentioned earlier, we've redesigned the majority of this rocket and its systems. From the outside, for those of you that have tuned in before, it might look pretty familiar, but beneath the surface, it's all new. And the primary objective today is to put it all together in a real, live flight environment. In order to learn, we got to launch.
Yeah, and really it's the data we're expecting to get back from today's flight that's going to bring us closer to making Starship operational and unlocking the next generation of our future in space. So no matter the outcome of today's test flight, excitement is guaranteed.
Most definitely. And speaking of excitement, Dan Hewitt is in a pretty exciting place. He's stationed just outside of the Launch Control Center, a couple floors above us. How's it going up there, Dan?
Kate, it couldn't be going better. We have a blue sky outside. I'm beyond psyched. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Hewitt with SpaceX Communications. It's been far too long. Welcome back for another Starship launch. Things are looking good. We are counting down. We moved into our window a little bit, but we are looking good right now at this moment. Behind me, you see the flight control team. They're on console, looking at the rocket, the pad, the range, the weather, everything as we count down to liftoff. We're going to be getting into prop load in just a couple of minutes, and we are counting down to a liftoff at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. The weather is great. We haven't had a blue sky all day. There you can see almost nothing but that. We were fighting some upper level winds a little bit earlier. That's why we moved into our launch window. But the great news is we are looking go for launch. Also, we're monitoring the range, so air and sea space out in the Gulf and also in the Indian Ocean on the other side of the world, not tracking any issues there. Now, today's countdown functionally going to look pretty similar to most people. There's a couple of differences in timing for some of those major milestones, like when we start loading propellant, when the diverter turns on and the water's flowing, when the engines start up. But otherwise, other than that, all of the hardware brand new. New booster, new ship, new engines, new pad. Let's nerd out. Let's dive right into it. So there it is on the pad. Say hello to Starship version 3. As Kate noted, some of the outside might look familiar, but we've made extensive upgrades across every single system. Start with the big picture, because Starship still very, very big. Just over 407 feet tall, fully stacked, a little bit taller than version 2. With that extra stretch, we can carry even more propellant, but big rocket. The bottom half is our super heavy booster, and there are some pretty visible structural changes on the outside. We'll jump in. You've got version 3 on the left there, version 2 on the right. At the very top, we've changed from a one-time use hot stage adapter that used to pop off to one that's fully integrated for reusability. And Starship's Raptors are actually going to be igniting directly on top of the booster's fuel tank. The fuel tank pressure itself and then a non-structural layer of steel, it's what's protecting the top of that booster when we do hot stage separation. Moving down a little bit, we went from 4 grid fins to 3. We made them 50% bigger and higher strength. Just a reminder, that's what booster is using to kind of steer itself as it's flying back for a catch. We're also now going to use those grid fins for lift and catch itself. We zoom in a little bit and you can see new catch points now on those grid fin structures. moving inside the rocket, we redesigned the fuel transfer tube. This is the really big tube inside the rocket that's moving all of that liquid methane down to the Super Heavy's 33 Raptor engines. It's going to help us flip faster, and we can now start up all of the engines simultaneously. This thing is big. It's about the size of a Falcon 9 first stage, which gives us the fun realization that we kind of put a rocket inside of our rocket. The very bottom of the booster looks very different. You've got those new Raptor 3 engines that enabled us to delete the bulky heat shields, the engine shrouds that we had on the previous generation. And then all of the propulsion, avionics hardware for those engines are super tightly integrated now and protected by much slimmer shielding. Move on up, second stage. This version of Starship is designed to carry massive orbital payloads. We're talking up to 100 metric tons to Earth orbit, the Moon, and Mars. The biggest changes are pretty much all under the hood. We gave the propulsion system a clean sheet redesign, increased the propellant tank volume, and improved our reaction control system, our steering while we're on orbit. When we X-ray inside, the PEZ dispenser is now supercharged, a little bit of turbo, and that's going to allow us to increase the deploy speed for each of those satellites. Today, we're actually flying the heaviest payload we've ever carried on Starship, but eventually we're going to launch with up to 60 of those Starlink V3 satellites. Just below that, just below the payload bay and also down on the aft part of the ship, we've added new docking ports. That's going to enable us to link up in orbit between two starships, do propellant transfer. We also modified that main connection point where we load propellants into the vehicle for those future prop transfer missions. So a lot of upgrades tip to tail on the rocket, but powering everything, the Raptor 3. There they are, ripping in real time. These engines manufactured in Hawthorne, California, tested at our site up in McGregor. We redesigned their entire ignition system. We bumped up the thrust, so putting out more force, went from 230 to 250 tons force on those sea-level engines, 258 all the way up to 275 on the vacuum-optimized ones. When you look at all of the generations of Raptor lined up, all of those fiddly bits, the sensors, feed lines, controllers, everything that you were used to seeing around Raptor 1 and 2, a lot of those have either been deleted, best part is no port, or they're internally integrated and protected inside of the engine itself. That'll let us dramatically cut down on the weight of the engine, make it easier to manufacture because we are going to be mass producing these things. Now, we make these Raptors in Hawthorne. There's our Hawthorne manufacturing team getting ready to see their engines fly in space for the very first time. Huge shout out to you guys. You're all wizards. Appreciate you getting us some vehicles on the pad today. But incredible amount of effort. World's best engineering team works here at SpaceX. Get this rocket to that pad ready to launch. And we've been trying to follow more of it and document some of it. And if you haven't seen it, check out our new docu-series, Starship.
And if you're just joining us while they run that trailer for their new documentary, Starship there, if you're just joining us, T-minus 33 minutes, 50 seconds and counting. Booster LOX load and fuel load now underway. Ship LOX load is also underway, and we are just 43 seconds away from fuel load on the ship beginning as well. So everything continuing to count down really well here today, now that we are actively into propellant loading for the launch countdown. We're going to remove that window close icon because we are now into to the active propellant loading. And we're going to slowly be clearing the screen of more of these moments that we need to see have happen here today. I want to give a shout out to Magnus jumping on as a camera operator, moving some of the cameras around for you guys, getting you the best possible views here as we are now into propellant loading while listening in to SpaceX. Sees that you can see him there actively adjusting some of the settings to get you guys as best of a view as we can. But if you're just joining us, less than 33 minutes and counting till the first ever Starship V3 and V3 booster launch from a brand new launch pad at Pad B at Starbase, Texas. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream, invite people to join us, and engage the subscribe button here at TLP. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we're keeping an eye out, looking for those frost lines to start developing on the first stage of the booster and the ship. You can see that frost line now developing there on the ship. Let's listen back into SpaceX Mission Control.
And I love this docu-series because it's allowing us to get a peek behind the curtains.
Yeah, the full thing is 25 minutes long, and I think I've watched it 4 or 5 times already. That's how good it is.
Same.
But yeah, so just as the team has been working hard on a brand new rocket, we've also redesigned the ground systems. The brand new Pad 2, that you can see on your screen here, is making its big debut today.
We took everything we learned from operating on Pad 1 to create this totally new launch pad. Pad 2 is optimized for full and rapid reusability. We've upgraded our propellant farm with much more storage and more pumps to enable super fast filling for launch and relaunch. On the tower, we changed to shorter chopsticks, which enable even faster motion to better track vehicles flying in for catch.
Yeah, we also changed the actuators driving those chopsticks from hydraulics to 100% electromechanical, increasing their speed, redundancy, and reliability. On the ground, the launch mount was completely redesigned, and if I had to describe it in one word, I'd say it's robust. With the extensive concrete and steel cladding, it almost feels like you're looking at a battleship, not a launch pad. But it's also smarter. We've separated the fuel and ox systems into different compartments and repositioned the booster quick disconnects to be out of the vehicle's plume during liftoff.
Yeah, and perhaps the most obvious change, we've now got a bi-directional flame diverter. We said goodbye to the pancake, and a new top deck flame deflector to eliminate metal wearing down, which will help us get to zero refurbishment between launches. In fact, that new flame trench and the new chopsticks are featured here on our new Pad 2 launch shirts. This launch pad is built for maximum safety and fast turnaround because making life multiplanetary will require launching a lot of Starships. And as the countdown continues, let's change gears for a moment and head over to Tyler Lionquist in Hawthorne to talk about Starlink. How's it going over there, Tyler?
Hey, Kate, and thank you. We're back in Hawthorne, and we have a crowd forming outside of Mission Control ready to see some Starships fly today. And like Jake mentioned earlier, on today's flight, we're deploying 20 Starlink simulators, plus 2 modified Starlink satellites, which our team internally refers to as Dodger Dogs, because we stretched that V2 mini satellite propellant tank so that it sticks out from both ends of the satellite. You can see it right there. It is just missing some mustard and onions. So the Dodger Dog serves as a tech demo between the V2 and the V3 Starlink satellites, and will act as a platform for testing those V3 components. So the larger V3 satellites aim to greatly expand the network's capacity, while V3 hardware is designed to support faster Wi-Fi and improved broadband speeds to customers while providing a significant capacity upgrade from the V2 Mini. And in addition to delivering future V3 satellites to the Starlink network, we believe Starship will enable us to launch our AI satellites. As you may have seen during the TerraFab event in Austin a few months ago, Elon laid out the path to revolutionize cloud computing and AI infrastructure, leveraging the unlimited power of the sun, targeting 100 gigawatts to 1 terawatt of AI computing power annually. And from there, we're looking at connectivity beyond our planet too. Building on the technologies used to connect people on Earth, the Starlink team is exploring using Starlink to enable high bandwidth connectivity around the moon. With a constellation of satellites designed to connect to user terminals on the lunar surface, we could relay data back to our Starlink constellation in Earth orbit. So traditionally, deep space comms have relied on radio frequency transmission. This new design would use lasers to relay data back to Earth, which can massively increase the bandwidth available to future lunar missions. We currently have thousands of lasers operating in our Starlink constellation around Earth. Deploying that technology around the moon could connect it with hundreds of terabits of capacity. Together, this could provide the connectivity backbone between the Earth and the moon and enable gigabit connectivity anywhere on the lunar surface, providing data for rovers, habitats, and astronauts, and hopefully some incredible views for us back on Earth too. So all of that adds up to a lot of satellites. But the good news is that there's still plenty of space in space. But that said, the Starlink team takes space safety extremely seriously, and we work hard to encourage best practices across the entire industry so space stays open for as many people as possible.
And if you're just joining us, T-minus 27 minutes, 22 seconds and counting. And propellant load is now well underway on both the ship and the booster. As you can see there, those frost lines starting to develop on the ship from our own TLP cameras down at Starbase, our camera operator, Magnus. The man, the myth, the legend from Artemis 2 on the cameras here today as well, operating them. And you can start to see those frost lines now appearing on the booster as well. Some incredible live shots there down at Starbase. We begin, we begin Raptor engine chill in just over 5 minutes from now, and booster load complete now just under 24 minutes from now, as we continue to get closer and closer to that liftoff time. You heard some amazing updates there from SpaceX, a few glimpses of some new renders that we hadn't seen, an image of what these new Starlings look like that they're launching today, something about some hot dogs or something. But they have had some incredible information about the future of what Starlink will do around the moon, rolling out Roam Interplanetary. Having used Starlink Roam North America, it's cool to think that we're getting closer and closer to an age that you can just subscribe to an interplanetary system. And just imagine the views we already had from the Artemis program. Imagine what we're going to get back when we have something like the Starlink constellation around the Earth, around the moon, and then eventually Mars as well. You can see those frost lines starting to appear, as I said, on the booster as liquid methane and oxygen get loaded onto both the booster and the ship. T-minus 25 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting till launch. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging me at the launch pad. Doing my very best to answer those live while we continue through. SpaceX is playing through a video, so that's why we're answering some of your guys' questions as well. So you can send those in by tagging me at the launch pad, and I will be answering those for you guys while we keep a close eye on everything happening down at Starbase as we count just over 25 minutes and counting to launch. I know I saw some questions about what's the timeline of events. So I'll go through some of the biggest ones that we'll see once we have liftoff. Obviously, liftoff at T0. Max Q is at T plus 45 seconds. We expect to have super heavy MECO, where most of the engines will shut off 2 minutes, 22 seconds into flight, followed by hot staging, 2 minutes, 24 seconds into flight. The boost back of super heavy, that burn will start 2 minutes, 30 seconds into flight and last for 60 seconds. At 6 minutes, 34 seconds into flight, Super Heavy will begin its landing burn for a soft splashdown in the Gulf of America, 6 minutes, 59 seconds after liftoff. Starship will continue under power that entire time, having Starship engine cut off 8 minutes, 11 seconds into flight. The payload demo deploy, the Starlink demo deployment will occur at 17 minutes, 37 seconds into flight is when it'll begin, and it's expected to take just under 10 minutes to complete that. 10 minutes after that, 38 minutes, 37 seconds into flight, the Raptor in-space relight demo will occur, and then at T plus 47 minutes, 47 seconds, Starship will begin re-entry. Starship, should it survive re-entry, will go transonic 1 hour, 2 minutes, 29 seconds after liftoff, subsonic 1 hour, 3 minutes, 8 seconds after launch, and conduct a landing burn and flip 1 hour, 5 minutes, 6 seconds after launch, with an exciting landing 1 hour, 5 minutes, 26 seconds after the launch sequence. So that is what we are counting down towards here today, and hopefully we'll get to see if we get through a successful propellant loading here this afternoon. You can see SpaceX playing one of their videos here talking about conjunction events and different things. Unfortunately, they do love to put music on that, and we want to make sure that we stay on air. So let's listen back into SpaceX Mission Control.
Along the way. Now let's take a look into the flight profile for today's test. As we've mentioned a few times already, there are numerous redesigns making their debut today across the entire launch vehicle. In light of this, we want to keep our learning focused on all that new hardware and software, so we're running a flight profile similar to our last 2 Starship flights in order to minimize new variables.
Yeah, and we'll start with liftoff, where Super Heavy ignites 33 brand new Raptor 3 engines. We power through ascent ahead of hot stage separation. Booster shuts down all but 5 sustainer engines. Stage 2 lights its Raptor engines while still attached to Super Heavy. We get to see stage separation debuting the integrated hot stage, directional booster flip, engine relight, and boost back using 33 engines. And after coasting for a few minutes, the booster today will target a landing burn and soft splashdown a few miles off the coast from Starbase.
Yeah, Ship does a bunch of fun things like deploying 20 Starlink simulator satellites, 2 of them Dodger Dogs, as we affectionately call them, single engine Raptor relight, and then reentry. Everybody's favorite part, lots of fun Technicolor colors that will be brought to us by Starlink. And if all of that goes as planned, we will finish the test with a flip, a landing burn, and a soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean. And actually, in just a few moments, thanks to Starlink, we'll be going live to the Indian Ocean and chatting with the ship recovery team stationed out there.
I'm so excited for that. That's going to be awesome.
So cool.
But sit tight, 'cause, first we're going to go to Dan for a quick status check.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Everything's still looking good. We are not tracking any issues technically on the vehicle or on the pad. Range status continues to be good, both the range out here in the Gulf and out in the Indian Ocean. As you can see, we have started our propellant load. That happened at about 36 minutes before T0. We're loading about 20% faster on Pad 2 than we did on Pad 1. Our flight director, Ty Huntington's back in the chair again. He was there for Starship's first flight test and 11 back for V3. He did that final go, no go at about T-minus 1 hour. We do start loading on ship first. That happened at about T-minus 37. Booster follows about 1 minute later, starting with its liquid oxygen and then its liquid methane. And then ship fuel is the last one to kick off at about T-minus 35. We're going to continue loading all of this propellant on board until about 3 minutes right before launch. 3 minutes 20 on ship, 2 minutes 50 on the booster. So we go pretty much right down to the wire. But as of this moment, still looking good. T0 set for 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Continuing to load prop, continuing to count down. All right. If you've been following along with these launches, you know we've been sending these suborbital and they splash down in the Indian Ocean. How the heck do we see some of that? Well, we have our recovery team, our Starship recovery team, and one of their primary jobs is to get those reentry views and a whole lot more. We're going to take them now. We're joining them out in the Indian Ocean. We've got Suren Sinai standing by, taking a moment from the recovery ops. He might be frozen. Let me know if you can hear me, Suren. How's everything looking out there in the ocean?
Dan, I can hear you loud and clear. We're sitting in about 8-foot waves, but it's looking like a clear day, ready for a ship to come on through.
All right, man. How many of these have you done? And walk us through. What's the recovery team's primary job out there?
I've done 6 and now 7 of these missions, and with every mission we've seen it evolve, and but our primary goal has always been to clear the range. So just like we do over in the Gulf, the same kind of happens here. We send 1 to 2 boats out and we make sure there's nothing in the area so that the rocket is clear to land. And then once we can guarantee that and have the rocket leave the pad, then we can proceed to imagery collection. So we have
All right, we'll see if we can get him back, but they're out there in the Indian Ocean. I think everyone's familiar. They've got the buoy cams. They've got the drones that are going to be going up, so we're going to be cutting back to them live once they get. They've been doing some practice stuff. We've been able to shoot some of this. So there you can see Suren getting those buoy boats. So they're basically out there. They're deploying these boats in the splashdown zone. If you get a live view from one of these boats, that tells you that we're pretty much nailing our target on that. And then Suren and a couple of our other recovery folks out there are going to be flying drones to hopefully get that imagery of Starship coming back. It's super critical for us to see just how that heat shield performed after reentry, and just having them out there remote, just in the middle of nowhere, plays just a really critical role in just rapid iteration on Starship and its heat shield. So looking forward to hopefully seeing some views from them a little bit later. But for now, let's head back down to Kate and Jake for the latest progress at Cape Canaveral in Florida.
Thanks, Dan. Now, if we want to get to the moon and then Mars as fast as possible, there's really only one answer: launch a lot more rockets.
Yeah, to do that, we're going to need a few more launch pads and support buildings, which is exactly what we're working on over in Florida. So originally built for Apollo and then the Space Shuttle, Launch Complex 39A has flown 126 Falcon missions since SpaceX reactivated the pad in 2017.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's that many. Fun fact, I actually hosted the live webcast for our very first launch at Pad 39A, and it was so exciting to see that come back to life. It's also exciting to see how today, almost 10 years later, the ongoing construction and development that will bring a second launch tower to Launch Complex 39A. You can see it ongoing there on your screen. It's designed to expand our capabilities to support Starship launches in the future, while also continuing to support Falcon Heavy missions from the original Apollo Shuttle Falcon launch tower.
Yeah, and we're also building a Starship launch pad at Slick 37. And to support the uptick in future launches, there's Gigabay, a giant assembly and maintenance facility designed to prep Starships ahead of Florida launches. And when complete, this huge structure aims to hold 24 work cells in over 800,000 square feet of workspace. That's 24 rockets under one roof. That's absolutely crazy.
Going to be so many.
Yeah. So SpaceX's future in Florida is quickly taking shape with our very first launches on the horizon.
Yes, a horizon that aims for regular trips to the moon. Now, staying with the lunar conversation, we're going to head back up to Dan, who has Starship Vice President of Engineering, Bill Riley, our favorite webcast visitor, to talk about the moon.
That's right, Kate. Yeah, crashing the webcast again. Bill Riley, VP of Starship Engineering. Thanks for coming, Bill. We wanted like a couple of minutes to geek out about the moon. Like Artemis 2 just flew humans around the moon for the first time in like 50 years, more than 50 years. I personally was wildly caught up in it. I don't know how you felt about the whole thing.
Yeah, I found it really inspirational. I think part of being a spacefaring civilization is being out there exploring, and I thought Artemis 2 got us back to the moon and back exploring and being out farther than we had been before.
It's always wild when you see space stuff kind of break through into the mainstream, and like it felt like that really did it. And I mean, that's going to continue happening. We're looking at a higher cadence of missions in Artemis, and Starship's obviously going to play a pretty big role in the entire Artemis program. But like, what's kind of next on the horizon?
I think what's exciting about Artemis 3 is you'll see the landers introduced now. So maybe we're talking to NASA about doing an Earth orbit rendezvous where the Starship-based lander could be in proximity to Orion or even more. I think that's really the next step. Prove out those landers close to home in Earth orbit, and then looking ahead, going to the moon.
And we're debuting V3 now, and just some of the stuff that's now on this version of Starship is going to directly enable some of that, or it's planned to, correct?
That's right. So V3 is exciting because it really introduces it's designed to introduce all these fundamental foundational features that allow us to go out past the Earth. So for example, there's many features, but some that are visible are the docking adapters below the PEZ door that you'll notice on the as-built ship. And then as we look out past V3, there's other configurations of Starship. There is a tanker that takes the propellant to dock with the lander that will land on the moon. And think of the on-orbit propellant transfer as sort of like the gas station in the sky. And then that gas station will be what we call the depot.
And then the plan now, and the plan's been, but it's really emphasized now, we're not just going for flags and footprints, we're talking permanent infrastructure on the moon, right?
That's right. We have to build up to that capacity. So the first landers will be, a new set of boot prints to kind of start a new generation of explorers. Then we'll build into cargo landers like you see here, maybe bringing down a rover to the surface. Some infrastructure might even be staying inside the landers. And then as we look to an even brighter future, having a permanent presence in a moon base.
Yeah, I'm ready for the moon base. I need to go to the moon. That's definitely in my it sounds like a hell of a week-long vacation or one heck of a trip. But and I mean, this is the next step on making life multiplanetary, right?
Absolutely. It's literally the next planetary body we need to get to. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Bill. I'm going to let you jump back in there as we get ready to launch this rocket. Thanks for nerding out on the moon with me for a couple of minutes. But we're not done. We got a little bit of more cool news. Stick around. Last year, the From 2 crew made history. They were the first astronauts ever to explore Earth's polar regions from space in Dragon. I got to catch up with that mission commander from that, Chun Wang. He was visiting one of the most remote places on the planet, and he had some exciting news. Awesome to talk to you. Start me off. Where the heck are you right now?
Thank you for joining me to Fui Island, and this isolated island in the South Atlantic. It's arguably the most remote island in the world.
It looks super isolated. You're only there with a couple of people. Kind of feels like a space mission to me. So let's just jump right in. You are going to be on the first interplanetary mission on a Starship.
So it's going to be a flyby mission of Mars. So a lot of people are talking about how Mars will be like. We're going to fly to Mars, we're going to land on Mars, we're going to build city on Mars. But let's get it started with a flyby.
Doing a flyby of Mars, that's a heck of a trip, but you're kind of built for this kind of mission, right? Because if you're not landing on the surface, you're spending a long time going out there, you're going to fly by it. It's going to be like just an insane couple of hours, and then it's a big trip back home. How are you kind of built to handle this kind of a journey?
This actually my style of spiral. I can stare at the map view on airplane all the way from takeoff to landing. So I think I'm enjoying the trip.
So it's not just the Mars flight, you're also going to be taking a trip around the moon, right? So kind of do that step before heading all the way out to Mars.
Yes, because even though it's just a flyby, it will try a lot of things that never been attempted before.
How do you kind of see these types of missions in kind of the grand scheme of everything?
It will light the fire. It will ignite imagination, and it will build the momentum. After we come back from Mars, you'll have an opportunity to take some real photos of Mars. Mars will no longer become a distant place. It will become reality.
Well, Chun, thanks for calling in from the other side of the planet. Super cool location, super cool to talk to you, and exciting. You're going to get on Starship. You're going to go around the moon and then do the first flyby of Mars. It's insanely exciting stuff.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Oh man, fireworks indeed. Just incredible to be one of the first humans to become an interplanetary traveler while also joining Starship's first mission to fly past the moon.
Yeah, Chun is certainly a one-of-a-kind explorer. And it's even more exciting to know everyone can join a future Starship mission.
Yeah. If what you just heard excites you, challenges you, inspires you, we'd like to hear from you. Come join our team. Be one of the people walking past us out to the lawn to watch the world's best rocket launch. Help shape the literal future of humanity. Now, we need the best and the brightest, and we need you right now.
Yeah, and we have tons of openings all across the company where we're looking for talented engineers and technicians at all of our sites, including McGregor, Texas, where we test every single one of these Raptor V3 engines behind us. Bastrop, Texas, where we build and assemble Starlink user terminals.
We also need help up in Redmond, Washington. That's Starlink's global headquarters, where, among other things, we manufacture Starlink satellites. If you like the fall weather, that might be the place for you. And as you've seen throughout today's show, there is a tremendous amount of activity happening right here at Starbase, Texas. Here and everywhere, it's all part of the incredible opportunity that we have to build the future of humanity.
Yeah, so if you're interested, visit spacex.com/careers to see these and all of our other openings.
Now, I can tell you that the crowd is certainly starting to grow. Behind us, you see the launch pad there for yourself. Once again, this is the first flight test of Starship version 3. This will be the first time that we are debuting this booster, this ship, the launch pad that you see there. And you can see people walking over my shoulder here as our colleagues are moving in masses to go watch this liftoff in just over 7.5 minutes from now. It's pretty exciting stuff.
It's pretty exciting, and as a reminder, we're only 1.5 miles away here. So we are very close, about as close as you can be, and we're definitely expecting to feel it.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jake. Hi. Do we have a mic? Hello, for those of you that might not know.
How are you guys?
Welcome, Nikki. It's so
Thank
nice
you.
to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my gosh. What do you think the Barbs are going to say when they see you here at Starbase?
They better say all good things. But they're going to be excited, and they're probably going to want to come themselves next time.
I mean, anybody can come and watch the launches. It's super accessible to the public, so we welcome that.
Okay, Barbs, come on down, because this is a lot of fun. I'm excited. Is it about to happen at any minute?
So you see that number right there in the top left corner, 6.5 minutes.
6 minutes left?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, but
Yes.
this is historic. This is a major moment, y'all.
Yeah.
It is.
Is this your first rocket launch that you've seen live?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
How do you feel?
Very, very excited. I'm happy it's a good day. I thought it might be like,
I just noticed your shirt. You've got the right
Hey.
swag.
I love this shirt.
It's a great shirt. I have one as well.
And it's a great name, Starship.
I mean, how did you predict the future? Starships are meant to fly.
I do not know. But major shout out to Elon. Elon, thank you for everything that you're doing for humanity.
He's the man, for sure.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, I'll see you guys
We want to watch
later.
the launch with you,
Okay, yes.
so we'll take this back because this is too loud to take outside. Wow, what a moment. And with that, great timing. We're now at 5.5 minutes. This brings us into terminal count. Dan, man, the anticipation is certainly growing here in the lobby and out on the lawn. What is it like up there?
Yeah, we are ready to go. We are getting into the final phase of our propellant loading. We are almost entirely full on ship on our main, still doing the header tanks, and we're looking well in excess of 90% on the booster, so we are looking good. Still not tracking any range, any weather issues today, not tracking any technical problems on the vehicle, on the launch pad, looking good for liftoff in just under 5 minutes. Once we're done with propellant loading on the booster, you have over 11.5 million pounds of that liquid methane, liquid oxygen on those two stages. After that, we have to essentially get the pad ready for launch. We'll do something called pushbacks, where all of those lines running underground from the propellant farm up to the vehicle, they're going to clear back. They're going to push all that propellant back into kind of the bunker area around the prop farm and just basically get the pad ready. We'll see the vehicles do their final thrust vector control checkouts. So when we snoop in, we should see the engines do kind of final wiggle checks. That's how we steer the rocket. We're going to do those at about T-minus 100 seconds, so a minute 40, and then once we pass the T-minus 40-second gate. If we do need to hold, that is still built in at T-minus 40 seconds. It's built into the countdown. We can pause if we need anything like those pushbacks to complete. If we need anything on the rocket to get ready, we can hold there. We'll only stop if we have an issue. Not currently tracking one. We have one item that might hold us up a little bit just based off of what we've seen in recent static fires, but that's typically only been hanging out for a couple of extra seconds. And then once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, a lot of things will happen in rapid succession.
Yeah, that moment is called the QD, or Quick Disconnect Vent Gate. That's when we clear all the gas commodity lines that connect the pad to the vehicles. Both the ship and the booster configure their comm systems for flight and are rapidly running leak checks on gas and fluid tanks. The booster goes to internal power and its engines get their final priming for launch, while the ship's engines begin their ascent bleed profile and arms the automatic flight safety system.
Yeah, and once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we still have the ability to rapidly recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds and hold there to assess what happened, review the data, and decide if we can proceed again all the way down to T0. We estimate we have around 5 minutes of hold time there. The flame diverter on pad 2 activates at around T-minus 17 seconds, and it enters what is essentially the point of no return at T-minus 10 seconds. And there's a chance we could recycle, but the closer we get to T-minus 10, the lower that chance becomes.
All right, we are coming up on 2 minutes. We have completed propellant loading on the booster, just shut down the fuel pump for loading onto the ship, so we're closing all of that out now. 2 minutes to go. One kind of exciting aspect to V3, we're not going to start the engines up in kind of different sets. All 33 of those Raptors going to turn on all at once, and you're going to see the booster move off the pad a whole lot quicker.
Once again, if you've just joined us, this is the first flight for version 3 of Starship. The ship, which is the upper part, the black part there at the top, the booster, which is the part below that, have been completely redesigned, as well as the launch pad that you see it sitting at, as well as the engines that power both the ship and the booster. Today's test flight is a massive step forward in our developmental program.
All right, and we're coming up here on T-minus 1 minute. So let's go to the pad and let the rocket do the talking as V3 fully comes alive.
T-minus 1 minute.
All right, so we did hit the hold at T-minus 40. Again, this is something that is built into the timeline. Not surprising, as we are doing this first flight off of pad 2. Sounds like we might already be clear. We held for a second just to make sure that the quick disconnect vents were basically ready for their final throwbacks. So we'll hang tight for a couple of seconds. I think we're about to reset, and the reset is in. Counting down, first flight of Starship V3. Psych, back to rapid recycle. All right, so hold here for a second. Looks like we're still managing some pressures in the ship quick disconnect. All right, still going to hang out for a couple of seconds here at T-minus 40. Again, not surprising. This is new vehicle, new pad, doing all these things for the very first time. Right now we are holding, looking at some pressures in the quick disconnect, and hold reset, and we're rolling.
Flight directors, go up to launch.
Back to rapid recycle, so we're going to hold at T-minus 40 again. Hang tight for a second, we'll see what tripped this last one. The reminder, we can hang out for quite a few minutes at T-minus 40 if we need the extra time. You're not actively loading propellant onto the vehicle anymore, so the main thing you're kind of keeping an eye on is all of the temperatures inside those propellant tanks. All right, we're continuing to hang out here at T-minus 40. Teams Team's taking a look right now at our diverter, so that water diverter underneath the system did trip a hold, but that basically just gives the team the chance to look at it, see if it's something that we need to troubleshoot in data or if it's something that we can clear this hold. So continuing to hang tight, T-minus 40 seconds. Starship and Super Heavy fully loaded on the pad. Clock is rolling.
T-30, flight directors, go for launch.
And we kick back to rapid recycle again. Again, just a reminder, said it before, new pad, new rocket, learning new things about this hardware performing in the flight environment. Taking a look at some of the sensors on the arm that manages the quick disconnect to the ship. I promise we're not just trying to prolong the anticipation. Team's taking a look. We've got a couple more minutes where we can hang out here. Again, it's not an unlimited time to pause at T-minus 40. We're keeping an eye on the propellant temperatures inside the vehicles. So we've got probably about 3 minutes or so left of hold time. Team's taking a look at the hold that tripped on that arm for the quick disconnect on the tower. Continuing to hold, got a couple minutes to try and clear this issue. Still holding T-minus 40, still troubleshooting this issue. Probably got about a minute or a minute and a half left of hold time. Flight control team confirmed still working through the issue. Still have a short amount of hold time still remaining. Still holding T-minus 40. All right, still continuing to hold here at T minus 40. While we do that, the team's looking at temperatures of the propellant inside those tanks. We kind of check that against simulations that we've run in the past. There's some margin in those. We're still holding, no decision yet. Sounding like we have the fix in place. Hold reset, clocks is rolling. And we're back into rapid recycle. All right, we're back at our T minus 40 hold. Standing by to see what tripped us this time. All right, it is sounding like we are not going to be able to clear this issue in time today, so we are going to be standing down from a launch. So if you're just now joining us, we got the vehicle totally loaded. We hit a couple of different holds as we work through that count. Again, new rocket, new pad. We're learning about a lot about these systems as we execute them for the first time, and we're not able to basically troubleshoot all of these issues in those final seconds to get to launch. But that essentially makes this a wet dress rehearsal. We were able to fully load the vehicles, and we're going to take the time now, figure out what tripped us up before launch, and then actually get into a flight tomorrow. We do have the ability to essentially rapidly recycle. We are expecting to be able to make another flight attempt tomorrow, but obviously stay tuned to our social media at SpaceX on X and our website, spacex.com, for updates. So no flight today. We will give it another try tomorrow.
And that is not what we were hoping to hear today, but there we have it. Unfortunately, confirmation from SpaceX. Tonight's launch has been scrubbed. They did not fully say what was the reason, but they did confirm that it was something that they would not have been able to have cleared in time. This was not major. This was due to them having held at this point for so long. They can only hold at T minus 40 seconds for so much time. And unfortunately, that is what they arrived at. They had that point where they did not have enough time to be able to clear it in time, unfortunately. So we are, of course, going to keep these cameras live because guess what? These cameras stay live 24/7. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad here at TLP. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. We will, of course, do this all again as early as tomorrow is the next possible opportunity, depending what the issue is. We did hear some of the things that they were happening. They were looking at temperatures in the quick disconnect of the ship. They cleared those. Then we heard that there was something with the water flame diverter, the flame deluge. They cleared that. We do not know what the issue was that caused them to have to fully call a halt here for today's launch opportunity. But unfortunately, that is what has happened. Once we confirm a new T0, we will get that clock running in the top right corner of the screen on the 24/7 stream. But at this point, we're going to answer some of your guys' comments and questions as we wrap up and watch detanking. We're not done here yet. We have a fully fueled Mars rocket on the pad that we need to now watch them detank. This is still a very active situation, so we will be staying live for a little bit, answering your guys' comments and questions. But most likely it will be a recycle for 24 hours, recycling to a launch attempt at the same time tomorrow, which was 5:30 p.m. 5:30? Let me double check that. Yes, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, with a 90-minute window. We do expect that to be an identical window tomorrow if they do attempt tomorrow. Again, a huge thank you I want to say to all of them, and I'm probably going to miss names, so I'm still going to try. But a huge thank you to Devin and Harvey and Judith and Matt and David and Lewis, our mods that have been in the chat. I hope I didn't miss anybody. A huge thank you to Magnus for being our camera operator today, moving these cameras around. We were ready to track with our camera here today, and hopefully we'll get to try to be able to do that again for you guys tomorrow or whenever SpaceX attempts another launch here. If you haven't yet, though, take a moment, make sure you engage that subscribe button. You'll be able to follow along with full detanking right here on TLP through our 24/7 broadcast as we continue through. But scrubs are better than RUDs, like we talked about earlier in the day, and that is exactly what they are going to do. We got really late into the count, which makes me think it's something to do with that terminal count, some of those last sequences that they need to activate in time for ignition to happen. And what that would be is you would have the quick disconnect separating and swinging out of the way. You would have the water deluge activated. You would have the disconnects of the clamps that hold the booster down. Many things still have to happen right in the last 40 seconds of the count. And you saw there, the launch director gave his go at T-minus 30 seconds multiple times. They kept clearing things. But like they said, this is basically a new rocket. This is the first ever time we've gone through this. So honestly, this was expected in my books. If I was putting money on this, this is what I would have expected. But hopefully the next time we have an attempt, they are able to run through it right away. But what we're going to do is we are going to wrap up. If you were watching on one of the Starship Flight 12 countdown or launch coverage streams, those are going to end. If you're watching on the 24/7 stream, this is 24/7. It doesn't go anywhere. So if you guys want to keep chatting and having questions be answered through detanking, join me over on the 24/7 Starbase stream there. We're going to wrap up our launch coverage and our countdown streams as we are no longer in an active countdown, and we will continue our coverage right here on the launch pad on our 24/7 Starbase stream. But for now, from our TLP Canada studio, my name is Zach, and we will see you next time because space is better together. Good night and go Starship.